Hello everyone and welcome back. As promised, we do have this veto ready and waiting to go for you, and Zakaria is going to help take you through it.
Yeah, I mean, as we said, we weren't thinking we were going to see any of the tactical maps. That's a ban of Vertigo very early on from the Sea Stags, and maybe rightly so. We have seen them struggle a little bit on it, and Derby Gods have fired Overpass out, so we might see something like a train, like a nuke, actually in this best of 5 series. We'll see what we get at the moment. It looks like we are seeing Sea Stags banning those more tactical maps, and a pick on the Sea Stags side. We're going to see Derby on the CT as well. It's a pretty important start for Derby, and maybe a map that sort of hybrids that take between the utility control and the fragging ability. If you can get some mollies down on Inferno, then you have control very early on and can win the game. We are going to see... I mean, what are you thinking so far looking at these picks?
Well, I am pretty surprised at this Inferno pick from the Sea Stags. I can't lie to you. They lost it very narrowly, it does have to be said, against the Oxford Brookes Vipers, but they lost it in a series where Oxford Brookes picked it against them, and maybe that's given them a bit of confidence. They felt pretty close in that regard, but the Derby Gods now have picked us two into things. That was the best map for the Sea Stags in the last series they played.
Yeah, I don't feel like this is two teams that have really looked at each other's demos at the moment. This is just them picking their favourite maps. Inferno really shouldn't be Sea Stags' pick, I don't think. I think Derby Gods really should favour Inferno, and Dust 2 really is favoured by the Sea Stags. I promise you we haven't got our overlay incorrect at the moment. This is just us casters getting things wrong. In the predictions, Caster's Curse and all of that. I wonder what we'll see coming into the next map. I reckon Sea Stags maybe going to pick something a little bit, maybe a little bit by surprise. I reckon maybe we'll see Nuke looking at this lineup.
I think Nuke.
Actually.
I don't think they're going to leave Nuke to the last one. What are the options now? You have the choice of
Train and Nuke.
Train and Nuke. Yeah, so I really can't see Train being picked as the fourth map in this series over Nuke, but this could be the best of 5 that just turns everything on its head. Vertigo is an early ban from the Sea Stags. You can almost understand that. Considering they got beaten on it before. But yeah, this Inferno pick, totally crazy in my mind. And Mirage as well was a map that the Sea Stags actually chose to leave out of the last series. They'd rather have had Overpass in it, but of course it's the Derby Gods who've banned that now. So they're going to have their option to show things off on Mirage. And to be honest with you, this doesn't look too bad at all for the Sea Stags. Inferno, they definitely have a bit of a disadvantage there, but there's an outside chance to win considering how well they played against the Oxford Brookes Vipers. And then they've got Dust 2 and Mirage in this series. Even with that one map advantage, those two being the second 2 maps in could be quite dangerous for Derby.
And maybe this is something to do with the teams having played against each other last week. I mean, maybe they're anti-stratting a little bit. They know what maps they struggled on. Of course, Derby Gods actually going into 2 overtimes against Sea Stags, where maybe they thought they were going to win. I mean, to be fair, that was a Sea Stags pick last week, so a little bit of an interesting call to ban it. But Vertigo, the Sea Stags struggled on a lot in the past couple of weeks, so I do understand that ban a little bit more, but the picks are quite confusing. So Derby do get to pick this final map. They get the free map pick coming into this. So I do wonder what we're going to see. I think.
Well, part of the issue is that if they do end up picking that nuke, they would have to start on the T side, right? Because the Sea Stags obviously have that side advantage. So I think they're just weighing that argument up in their head, and they go, I don't want to rely on potentially the last map in series needing me starting on the T side of nuke. I'd rather much play on the train side of things. And yeah, this has to be one of the oddest vetoes we've ever seen. But in that best of 5 scenario, Inferno, Dust 2, Mirage, Train, and then Nuke potentially as that decider. Now, there is obviously going to be a 1 map advantage coming through for the Derby Gods, and I'm not quite sure how that one does come into effect. I'm assuming that would be an automatic win on their opponent's first pick.
You think so? Yeah. I think that this is definitely going to be a bit of a battle now. Looking at the maps that have been picked, it's a bit of an interesting one. Of course, Nuke. Sorry, we should clarify here. We're going to see Inferno, Dust 2, Mirage, and Train. Nuke is the leftover map, which means that Derby have won it automatically. Sure. So we aren't going to see Nuke in the play at the moment. Vertigo, Overpass, and Nuke are all banned. So we're only going to be seeing the 4 maps, and to be honest, I reckon we still see Derby edge this one out. Looking at this, we probably see Sea Stags win the first couple of maps. Maybe Inferno might be a Derby win, but definitely that train pick. If we manage to get all the way there, Derby are probably going to win that one. It's a map that I reckon, with that more tactical element that they do have on their side, it's going to be more of a struggle for the Sea Stags to beat them just from their fragging ability.
Indeed, I think it could be a bit of an intense brawl, and perhaps with Derby edging out those outside maps of the picks for the first and the last one means that it could potentially be up to the Sea Stags to perform well after potentially being 2-0 in this series. It all depends, though, how Inferno does go, and against the Oxford Brooks Vipers, there was very little to separate the two sides. A lot to sing home about in terms of CT fragging, and to be honest with you, if it was feeling like from the Oxford Brooks Vipers at a certain point in time, like it was a bit of a one-man effort over there, and perhaps if they didn't have the carry that they did have available, it could have been a Sea Stags win on that map. So this is going to be really interesting, this first map, just to set the pace for the game, because if somehow the Sea Stags can come out of nowhere and pick up a win on this first map, that's really going to put the Derby gods under pressure.
And knowing that Derby don't have that top frag player as well that they've had in the other games, this first map's going to give us a lot of information about how they play with the new player, whether they change any of their setups, whether they adapt to play around that missing player that they do have. Of course, they maybe in the past have relied on opening picks coming out from their top frag from Zahin in the past, and they've lost him now, so it's going to be a bit more of a struggle for them potentially in this game. I mean, they did play last week, and of course Sea Stags lost generally because of a poor team performance, but maybe we'll see something different this week. Maybe Derby will change things up, and maybe we'll see UWE Sea Stags instead take map control a little bit more impressively, do something a little bit different, especially because these maps definitely do favour them coming into this series.
Well, that really could be the sort of critical factor. If the Sea Stags can come out firing on all cylinders and dominating that early firepower game, that's where you can start to play the mental game against your opponents. We've lost our top fragger and now they're dominating us on the scoreboard. You can feel incredibly overwhelmed at that point. And in the grand final scenario, that's where things can really start to be disadvantageous for your momentum heading into that one. So it's going to be an interesting one to see how the Derby squad have adapted to these changes in roster, and whether or not the UWE Sea Stags squad is going to be able to capitalize on the advantages that they have in tonight's final. The door is slightly more ajar for them than it was in that last series that they played against the Derby gods, so they're going to have to hope tonight they've brought enough to force that door wide open and take the victory.
And the Sea Stags do have a bit of mental fragility to them. We are going to see the game starting in just a couple of seconds, and as I say that, we move into it just now. We get that beautiful little transition as we go into the knife round, into the pistol round. And Derby God's going to be buying fully up on armor, only orcs on the utility. On Sea Stags maybe going for a little bit more of the tactics that we weren't expecting. Two of them, Gary the Gutter and Magic, coming out with smokes and flashes.
They did favour that utility playing against the Oxford Brooks Vipers in the series on Saturday. That nade could deal some heavy damage, but just goes a bit too deep, it looks like. Only tagging down a couple of those Ts. And the Derby gods are getting very aggressive at the moment, looking to push up mid and flank up Banana, just clearing out that map control. And this is a bit of a tight spot now for the Sea Stags.
And a quick push coming out as well from all these players. Samuel gets the first kill on Orcs on that first orange position, and Fruli has been pushed off completely. A full rotation coming out for the Derby gods, but through the smoke there, Cameron. Fruli taking down Samuel just before he dies, though, and this is going to be a really difficult retake coming in from the Derby gods. No kits on any of the players. The only solace they've got is two players with no armor alive for the Sea Stags, but Cameron mopping them up on Church there, and the player just going to push out slow from Fate. This is the new player for the Derby gods lineup, replacing the top frag, but Iro 1 versus 2 here, going to struggle getting that kill on Dark, whiffing a couple of shots, and now Magic just going to play for time, waiting for his teammate to come in from Banana. Iro missing shot after shot after shot, still gets the headshot, but no time on the defuse, just going to run with his knife out, and Gary cleans up the rest of the round. UWE Sea Stags coming into this map, just how they begin to end, how they intend to end it.
Indeed, a very strong sight hold coming out from the Sea Stags in what was an incredibly poor position to be in. The Derby Gods had the flank on, but unfortunately couldn't wrestle the T straight out of the sight. Now it's the force buy coming out of the Deagles. Everyone other than Iro going for the full investment, and it's Orcs who wants first contact here in mid, trying to peek into the AKs. He does land a crit not a crit. He lands a hit onto the crit with a Galil right there, and right now, this T's just taking it slow. They don't want to push into those Deagles and throw their lives away.
A bit of a tongue twister there, hit and crit. But the Deagles, one benefit that they do have is that they are a 2-shot kill to the body. So this could be a little bit of a problem for the Sea Stags pushing into apps. They do have the advantage at the moment. Crit only on 7 HP, though. So could still go down to just 1 shot. Fuli as well will be able to mop money up with this XM on Banana. But looks like we're going to see an execute towards A here. Most of the players going A. Only one looking towards B. Iro takes that base in mid, but Magic gets the kill. Smoke going down, and this should be a full rotate coming in from Derby Gods. One player staying towards B just in case, but short control completely held for UWE. Sea Stags just need to execute on the site now, and Magic gets the first kill and the second onto Pit. And now Derby God should just be saving this round. Fuli with the armor, just going to hide on that top banana position, and the bomb goes down for Sea Stag. Should be 2-0 going into this round, into the next round, rather.
Yeah, the key thing here for the Sea Stags is just to try not have too many players go down. I mean, with the Mac 10 on Gary the Gutter, absolutely you can go hunting for some bonus cash, but for the Derby Gods, this force buy really didn't work out. Couldn't deny the plant, couldn't find any kills whatsoever, and now this hard eco has to come through, and it should be a fairly easy 3-0 conversion.
Yeah, Sea Stags looking very confident going into this round as well. It's a very poor start, really, from Derby Gods. That pistol round was looking quite nice, but not a good hold of A, and maybe UWE Sea Stags will be able to do something going into the full gun rounds. Just going to nade down middle early on, though, and not even going to get a kill out of it. Cameron mopping them up in mid. Fuli, though, gets 2 somehow with that pistol, and Iro gets Samuel as well. It's a 2 versus 2 all of a sudden. Iro on 2 HP, but got that 1 dig potential we've seen in this series so far. He's done well. Magic trades out Fuli, though, and they should get the kill on Iro in apps. 2 players taking down the players with no armor whatsoever, and Sea Stags mop up 3-0 going into this round.
Slightly messier than they'd initially anticipated, but here's the decision that's come out from the Derby Gods. Double AWP in round 4. Orcs on the glass cannon, and Fuli just with the flash and body armor. That's utility lacking for this CT squad now, and it could make the retake scenarios that little bit more difficult for them if we do progress into the later stages. The Sea Stags want to take early apartments aggression and control, and it looks like they might just be able to secure it now, trying to push out onto Orcs' position, but he's backed away, ready and waiting with that AWP. It doesn't look like Magic wants to give that peek a go just yet. They'll trade smokes for now, and the Sea Stags, they're going to try and get map control over towards B, but actually it's Cameron to find Orcs first. Fate will trade out for crit, but it remains a 4-on-4 as the Sea Stags have early A control.
And they are abusing A, I was right. These players understand that the force buy round was very similar to how Derby Gods are going to set up on the rifle rounds. And it's because these teams have played against each other before, and it looks like we are going to see the bomb going in towards A here. Samwell just picking it up and shifting in. They are walking into only 2 players as well, so Derby Gods with it all to do. This player in pit needs to do very well. If he gets mollied out, he is going to struggle, though. Hiding in that pit, just watching towards sight. And now the Molitovs come in. Zay supported by Iro on short, and going to try and shoot at the player in apps, but whiffing all the shots at the moment. And loses his head to Magic as well. The 2 players rotate in, but Fate shouldn't be able to get anything done here. Actually doesn't realize there's a player right next to him. Might get knifed, but Cameron going that safer route, getting the headshot. And now Fuli should just save this AWP. No chance that he gets this round done. None of the players really tagged up. Gary on 36 HP. Not that it really matters anyway, as Gary playing on that AWP and runs back towards B as expected.
The double AWP, what a gamble to bring in so early on in the half. And really, what a failed gamble at that one. Didn't look like the AWPs had much of an opportunity ringing out with those frags and finding much impact in this particular round. And We spoke in the pre-game a little bit about how perhaps the Derby gods might be feeling that lack of fragging presence, and it certainly feels that way so far. A couple of players yet to frag on the squad. It's still early days at the moment, but this is a totally dominant start from the Sea Stags, and that double AWP investment has really hampered that early CT economy.
Orcs is a player, though, that does get kills in a more sporadic sense, or rather a more streaky sense. He's a player that maybe isn't going to frag very early on, but when he gets going, it's going to be nothing. They're not going to be able to stop him on the Sea Stag side. They are going to try and force into this round a little bit, going down to about $2,000. Fate keeping his money up as well, maybe going to go for another double AWP as well. But nothing coming out from the Sea Stags early. A tag on Samuel on Banana, though, from Fuli, just to get things started. Just going to look for utility usage. Iro gets a kill on the other side of the map, but Zay traded out by Gary, and Gary actually having quite a good game so far.
Indeed, in the 4-on-4 scenario, the weapons are still with the T's, but Iro could find a spot here. He's found Gary, and he secured that kill now as well. Doubled up with the MP9, and pressure applied to the Sea Stags. They're virtually funneled in towards the B bomb site now, as all of their lay Urkers have been eliminated. Smoke deployed to the CT angle, but now they have to clear the site. The AWPs and the Deagles are still here. Cameron's taken down the AWP, and now the Deagle follows. 2-on-2 scenario needed for the retake, and Fate is locked out by that smoke. Iro worried that there could be somebody watching at the flank from Banana, so he takes his time, and that lets the Sea Stags into perfect post-plant positions.
Very confusing as to why Iro didn't pick up the AK coming out from Gary, but with it all to do now, 1 versus 2, the MP9 in hand. It's a weapon that can get kills if he rushes through. Spots the player on Dark, probably knows that there's one on quad here as well now. Smokes off the player on Dark. Just going to be throwing all the utility he's got in the world. Doesn't quite get that done as well. No kid on the player. He knows this now. Still gets the kill on Crit, and just looking to keep Cameron in on the site as the bomb goes out. Knew that he couldn't get the round. If Cameron goes down to the bomb here, it doesn't look like that's happened anyway. The bomb timer, the round timer rather, helping Sea Stags out. Keeping an AWP going into this round, and the money piling up as well. Only Crit really low on cash. Samuel as well, maybe, but going to be really good for these players to keep that economy high. Meanwhile, on the Derby Gods, no utility coming out for Zay, but 3 AWPs, in fact, and this could be surprising for UWEC Stags. A really early kill on Banana onto Samuel, but traded out well by Crit, and that favors the terrorists now.
It does indeed. There are still 2 CT AWPs on the board, but the B bomb site is wide open, and all of a sudden now those AWPs are more of a hindrance than a strength. 2 AWPs on the retake of a bomb site is an absolute nightmare, and as soon as that bomb gets planted, unless Orcs can try and find an early kill here on his own, I don't know if they're going to be able to attempt the retake. It looks like they've called the rotation over towards the B bomb site early, but there are 2 players locked actively in the site, and Crit's taken Orcs down now. It's time to save these rifles and bring them into the next round, because you're so unlikely to walk into the B bomb site with this AWP. It just means the dominance from the Sea Stags is continuing. 6 rounds at the start of Inferno here on the T side, no less.
And this is going to be really difficult for Derby Gods to come back from, as Magic going to flank as well, making problems from bad to worse. Gets 2 kills. And Zay and Iro not being able to save the weapons that they needed. Only 1 kill on Orc, 0 on Zay as well. Iro the only one with any kills for the Derby Gods. UWEC Stags crushing so far on Inferno on a map that maybe we thought was more suited to Derby. The only saving grace they've got is that they do have the next maps in their favor. They do have a 1-0 map advantage at the moment, but this is really not good. They need to change something quick.
This is the complete opposite way to starting a series, because, well, against Oxford Brooks Vipers, this was a close map between the Sea Stags and their opponents, and so far the Derby Gods are getting trounced on it. Crit and Magic open up for the first 2 kills. Fuli can get a single back with a Deagle, but he takes a headshot in reply. Lucky to get away with his life, to be honest with you, and still playing with fire against Samwell. Zay's the next one to peek out, and he will look for these Deagle frags, but Gary the Gutter, his last bullet is enough to get the job done. Now Fate is alone on this B bomb site, and with A totally open, it's just a matter of time before that 7-0 scoreline is converted from the Sea Stags. And at this point, we need to see a timeout from the Derby Gods.
And at least for Zay, he managed to get a kill. avoiding that James Bond scoreline. But this isn't good for Derby Gods. They need to call a timeout. It's something that we saw last week in this exact same matchup, best of three, that neither of these teams wanted to call one. They both just wanted to play out. And it hampered UWE Sea Stags massively that they didn't call anything. Derby Gods also refused to call one themselves, and so maybe they don't even realize that they can. It's something that these players aren't utilizing, they aren't taking advantage of, and it's costing them rounds, and it has cost them rounds so far in the tournament. Luckily, neither of them really had dropped a map up to that point, so it's something, maybe confidence turning into overconfidence, but UWE Sea Stags easily triumphing over Derby Gods so far.
Indeed, I have a feeling we might see a little bit more timeout usage once we enter the later stages of this best of 5 series and things start getting turned up pressure-wise, but for the Derby Gods, they absolutely need a timeout to come through incredibly soon. They're at risk now of wasting their entire CT side. There are 8 rounds left of it. This is the easier half of Inferno, and these double AWP, triple AWP setups that they've been trying to run, they have not been finding much effectiveness whatsoever. As soon as you see double AWPs come out so early, it might even have been a bit of a desperation play. This time it works out for AWPs as he takes Cameron down first, and Fooly this time can take down Samwell. Crit should be the next to fall. He's desperate to refrag as Fate takes him down. Finally, it looks like the Derby Gods might be onto a round here as Magic falls.
You can't Gary out, though. None of this momentum in Derby God's favour. Maybe they might go a little bit too aggressive. We've seen it so far. Fate, in fact, going to push towards that smoke on Banana. Gary just going to play it slow. He knows he's got a minute and 10 seconds to play with. He knows he's got time. He knows that he's got the bomb. So all these factors mean that he can just wait. He knows the players that he's playing against as well. So might just take it slow. Might just wait for players to push into him. Are getting a little bit aggressive at the moment. Somebody pushing down Banana, second mid. Gary looking in all the wrong places at the moment. Throws his first piece of utility for the round, but loses his life to Wooly on top Banana. A nice clean round for Derby Gods, 7-1, and they need to be stringing more of those together to keep that economy good.
First round secured for the CT side then, and it looks like the timeout has come through. This time it is from the Sea Stags, actually, trying to almost do the opposite of what the Derby Gods would have wanted. They would have wanted to use their timeouts to break up the momentum of the Sea Stags as much as possible. So the Sea Stags have allowed Derby to win a round, and then immediately they have to sit on that now and stew under the pressure. They know they need to start streaking rounds together, otherwise the CT side won't really get off to too much of a wondrous start in this first half of Inferno. And the Derby Gods squad, they survived with a lot of players in the last round. That one is certainly a positive, but they need to continue that trend if they want this map to be competitive.
And the CT economy is not a good economy at all. They lose one more round going into this, and they've lost 2-3 more rounds on the trot. And this is going to be a completely unwinnable game. Need at least 6 coming into this. Orc's going to push aggressively. Thinks that he might be able to get Magic here. Magic just going to actually swing into this angle. No shift coming out at all. And this is exactly what you do not want to see if you are supporting Derby Gods right now. A terrible play from Orcs. Too aggressive. And that's potentially lost them a site. Zay going to back it up with even more aggression, and that's traded out 1-for-1, and that's completely in favor of the Sea Stags now. No utility as well for Derby Gods. Pyro gets the headshot into Apps, but more players coming, going to tunnel out of that short position. Gets one in Apps again, but Cameron trades well, and now Fate and Fooly having to retake. No utility other than 2 flashes. Probably not going to be good enough, to be honest. They need to win this, though. Going to go and push for it. Looking for the kill towards short, waiting for some aggression to come out from Crit.
He's definitely holding the angle. You can see Fate. He's lining up that flash entry for Fooly as the first man with the AWP, and Crit is spraying blindly right now. Cameron actually takes his teammate down, then finds Fooly, and Fate on just 7 HP has to peek into the crosshair, and Cameron gets the flick. That's like a quad kill in the round, including the teammate he took down. But either way, Cameron saves the day, puts himself up onto 11 alongside Magic, and now puts the Derby Gods economy in another precarious spot.
And that's the mentality shattered for Derby Gods. They think that they're the better team after last week, and now losing that round, losing all the money that they've got. And look at Zay, no no utility whatsoever, just managing a decoy grenade at the moment.
It's definitely a tough one as the peak comes through onto Banana. Fate and Fwooly, they double up though. The Derby Gods starting to win out these opening execute play styles. They're getting the set pieces involved on the CT side, and when they're taking that aggression to the Sea Stags, it's working out in the early game. Magic gets one, but is traded out immediately by Orcs, and now it's a 2-on-4 favoring the CT side.
Not what I was expecting going into this, but it's something that has happened, and UWE Sea Stags actually have quite a lot of map control at the moment. The bomb's still going to go down. That money's still going to be moved up. And with an AWP having to retake, it's not going to be the easiest for Derby Gods. As long as Gary can get work done on the site. Cameron as well, a player that's been fragging a lot in this game. Gary spamming through that smoke. Doesn't realize that there's a player on short, but Cameron ready for it. Gets Orcs, but Fate trades out. Now Gary with it all to do. Gets one, gets two, and going to spin around to look for the third. Knows that there's another player on short. Mollied out, though. Unfortunately, loses his life to Fate, but that's far closer than it had any right to be. That A-site hold being terrible for the Derby Gods. UWE Sea Stags shattering the money on the Derby Gods team. And look at that. Zay, only 3,500. Fwooly, Orcs as well, very low on money, and UWE Sea Stags in a much better position, even though they lost the round. Okay, so now we're going to see some 3 players running towards Banana. They're ready for Orcs to be on that position, mollied out early on and keeps taking that face. Only 27 HP, loses his life to the nades over Banana as well. And now Fate stuck in a Molotov. This is completely wrong for the CT side, struggling to get these kills. And 2 for 1 in favor of UWE Sea Stags towards B, just from that aggression. Too harsh on the push there. And now Fwooly alone on this B site. No rotation called in for Derby Gods other than Fwooly. Looking towards B. And now actually UWE Sea Stags going to push in towards A. They don't realize that there's 2 players here. One of them quite aggressive as well. Zay with the MP9 looking in apps. Probably knows that the players push past him as well. A smoke comes down on long, and maybe this will prompt the rotation as well from Derby Gods on B. Iro spamming through that smoke, gets one and tries to get a second, but Zay with that sneaky play from Boiler gets the kill onto short. Maybe actually spots Gary the Gutter, and that's really impressive. But Gary gets the headshot on Zay, and now Fwooly once again in a 1 versus 2. Gary low is the only salvation that he's got. The bomb not in fact on the A site, and Fwooly actually holding from a more advantageous position. Here's the rotation towards B though. I think actually maybe not, just hiding in library. And the smoke going to go down. UWE Sea Stags with it actually quite impressive so far. But Derby holding their own a little bit. And actually going to push through that smoke, Fwooly, but not quite good enough. Fortunately, we have lost Protalis at the moment. He will be back in just a couple of seconds, don't you guys worry. It's just me for now. But the money really poor for the Derby Gods. Going to be able to stay up on the on the pistols. And the Deagles can do a little bit of work. We've seen in the matchup last week that they did quite a good job with these Deagles. Oftentimes they did win the round. Orc's going to push aggressive down mid as well. They're conscious of it though. The 2 players towards Banana. If he can get some 1-Deags off on second mid, he will win the round for Derby Gods, but not quite good enough. And Crit gets the headshot. Magic as well on Iro, and now Fate stuck on Banana. Zay in apps as well with this 5-7. Shouldn't be able to get much work done. This should be a 10-2 in favor of UWE Sea Stags, but Zay struggling a little bit. Look for this kill. Maybe we'll get Gary the Gutter, but Gary, with that superior weaponry, gets the kill onto second mid, and Derby Gods 10-2 down. This is really desolate for them. Of course, they do have the map advantage in this series, but 10-2 is going to be a bit of a mental blockade for them. They're going to really struggle going into the next few maps. I don't know about the resilience of these players. We've seen in the past that they have won every single map. They've not lost one yet, not dropped a single map. So this could be difficult for them to come back from. Orcs looking towards mid, and he has got this kill before. Legs the player. And now flashing in, maybe going to go a little bit aggressive. This has been what's been going wrong for the Derby Gods this entire game, but gets the kill, and Iroh as well with 2 on Banana. And now, UWE CSGO in a 2 versus 4. Not what was expected at all coming into this round. The struggling a little bit, the the Derby Gods, and not been the most competitive of rounds. The CSGO's been much the better team so far, but it looks like it could be going in the opposite direction completely. Now Magic looking towards Banana. Maybe doesn't realize that there's a player. Logs does check towards it, but loses his head to Fate. Traded out well by Gary, but a 1 versus 3 shouldn't win this if Derby Gods have got their round together. And here's the player in the flank as well. Gets the spray down on Orcs in behind and will start pushing in towards B.
Indeed, I am. Welcome back to the broadcast, and apologies for my technical issues. Gary, the Gutter, in a 1-on-2 situation now, though, against the Derby Gods, with the bomb in hand and potentially with an isolated 1-on-1 engagement directly in front of him. This could be a bit of a... Iroh, he lines up that shot. Headshot goes through clean as possible. The 10-3 scoreline coming out then. Double digits for the CSGO on this T side. Narrowly losing out on that round, but it could scrape a bye together if they wanted to.
And this is really difficult as well for the Derby Gods. Like I said before, they needed 6 rounds. Even though they won that one, their economy has been really dodgy so far. 3 kills out for Zay, 4 kills out for Orcs. It's not doing wonders for the money that they've got on the side. 10-3. And we are actually seeing a technical pause at the moment, so it's going to be a little bit of a break at the moment from this back and forth game. Derby Gods, of course, winning 1 round for CSGO is 3 so far. So 10-3 in favour of the CSGO. And yeah, just 1 second, we are actually having technical issues on the casting end as well, so it's just going to be me for a little bit longer. So yeah, it's a bit of a struggle coming out from the Derby Gods, an uphill battle at the moment. Of course, that 1 map advantage, as I keep highlighting again and again and again. They may be getting tired of me saying it, but money in favour of the CSGO, weaponry in favour of the CSGO, and utility in favour of the CSGO. Only Samwell on a Galil, but that's matched by Fate on a FAMAS and Orcs on an MP9. No AUE able to come out for Cameron, but not really going to mind. The man's 13-6 at the moment. Doing a really great job. So 10 seconds left going into this now. Technical pause has been cancelled. University of West England 10-3 up. All to play for going into this as well. It's 1 map. Sorry, favourite derby. Okay, we've... Sorry, I keep getting mixed signals in my ear. So Orc's going to be pushing aggressive down mid again. It's something that he's been doing rather a lot at the moment. Only 4-12 though, so not really been working out for him, but still going to go for it. Still going to push for every round. Still believes that he's got that fragging ability in him, which is something at least, but crit taking off the head of Fuli on B. And that might prompt a little bit of a rotation out of Derby Gods. We've not really seen rotations coming out. Orcs, once again with that aggression, going to lose himself. Zay can only trade 1 for 1. Iroh, though, could take them by surprise. Gets 1 on short, and now he's lost that element of surprise. No utility to flash himself out, though. Iroh, 1 versus 2. Unfortunately dies. And now Fate just on that FAMAS, and it's been really patchy for Derby Gods.
It has been patchy indeed, almost as patchy as the technology on my end at the moment. Absolute display at the internet end, but it does look like it's going to be a rough series for the Derby Gods at this point in time. 11-3 scoreline. That's a potential 12-3 conversion where the economy really is not going to be on side for the CT squad for the remainder of this half. That much is for sure. And I mean, the Derby Gods now, they need to hope that they have drilled their T-side like no tomorrow. Otherwise, this is going to be a rather quick map 1.
And more than that, it looks like the disappearance of Zahen from this lineup has meant that Derby Gods have lost all of their fragging ability. Iroh, the only player that's managing anything. Orcs trying to get work done in mid. Actually, another technical pause coming out because Orcs has lost connection from the game. But Orcs is really going to struggle in this map so far. He's rather has struggled so far in this map. He's been pushing down mid constantly, pushing for aggression, looking for those early kills, and only managed 4 kills. So unless this works on the T side, unless UWEC Stags are going for the aggressive peaks themselves and losing out to just superior firepower on the Derby team, at this point, I don't want to call it too early, but this should be map 1 towards the C Stags.
You have to anticipate if they can convert a 12-3. I mean, even with an 11-4 first half, a pistol round makes that something like 14-4, and then you have 2 pistol rounds. Out of this one, they try going aggressive down mid, and it really doesn't work out for them. The Sea Stags just coming through with a litany of frags across the board, and Iroh left alone with this FAMAS. He's been heard reloading now, so someone knows back positioning. They can go get the bomb and take it to the A bomb site absolutely for free, and Iroh is going to have a nightmare of a 1v4 on his hands.
And it's something that we've seen so far this half again and again and again is Orcs pushing down mid, one of these A players pushing into apartments, and it's not been working for them the entire half. I do not know why Derby Gods keep pushing for it, but Iroh with it all on his head now to secure this 4th round, which could be the difference between losing 16-5 and losing 16-6. As Iroh gets that headshot in mid, and maybe not going to expect to play a second mid, actually looking for this player at the moment, but turns his back at just the wrong time, and Samuel gets the kill that he deserves there. 12-3 in favour of the Sea Stags, and you can't say that they don't deserve this scoreline at the moment. Been much the better side.
They really have dominant in terms of the fragging. It's only Iroh who's been even able to try and compete with the Sea Stags squad so far this evening. And on the T side, you can only imagine things are going to get much more difficult now for the Derby Gods. It takes so much more effort to try and yield frags on the T side in terms of direct positioning that you need to try and gain a hold of. The overwhelming angles you need to try and garner as the T side. I think they're going to struggle immensely if they don't claim this pistol round.
Yeah, but going to go for this early push into apps as well, and flashes coming in. Cameron loses his head, unfortunately, on long, and now a full rotation coming in from Sea Stags. Play 3 players towards B, and a kit on Gary the Gutter is their saving grace here. Just going to be pushing up from mid. A player supporting him as well, but Iroh can hear them in mid now. Understands that there's players coming from there, just looking back and forth, back and forth. Here's them pushing up onto short. Just probably calling this to his team now. The player pushes in. This is exactly what he wants. And while that's happening, Crit somehow gets 2 headshots, but 1 versus 3. Knows that there's a player in Graveyard. Needs to get these, but Orcs tears off his head on short. And that's another round in favor of Derby Gods. 12-4.
Indeed, it is a little bit slight bit of confusion there, but it is the Derby Gods who go up on to 4 rounds, and they can, of course, get that lovely T-sided by together. The T-Stags on the T squad just have to bring out these Eagles and head armor, and I wouldn't count them out of the game with these pistols, to be honest with you. We know they can frag out with this weaponry, and they have been a dominant side throughout this map so far, so I wouldn't bank on them not losing out here, but against them all out from the B bomb side, it could be difficult. Gary pressured with the 5-7, does get a flash away, so Marek more time, but can't connect on to Fate. Gary the Gutter trying to retreat, taken down by Iroh, and he misses his opportunity to trade. That was the chance there to try and make it possible for this retake, and now in a 2-on-4, I think it's too much to ask for from these players.
Derby Gods. Maybe the aggression is going to work for them going into the T side. Crit gets the headshot on Banana. Maybe this isn't going to be everything for... well, I say that. UWEC Stags actually lose the round. Nothing good out for them there. And now, 12-5 in UWEC Stags' favour. 2 of the last 2 rounds have gone in Derby Gods' favour, but this should be where we get... Sorry, rather, they forced last round, so this is going to be a full eco for the Sea Stags. In fact, next round will be where we see some competition. And now, a peek just going to come out in apps from Cameron. Naded, though, early and loses quite a lot of health there. Half of his HP being lost just to try and get that information. UWEC Stags do not know that there's... Sorry, Derby Gods, rather, don't know that there's a stack on B, and they could be walking right into it now. If they lose that AWP, that's going to be huge money loss as well.
That would be an absolute nightmare, especially if they push Orcs in first, glass cannon against the pistols. If that could be recovered, perhaps even utilized to try and dismantle the rest of this push. But the key could be to work over towards the A side of the map. You can see the bomb making its way over at the moment, and there's only one player on the camera. And once he gets spotted out from this balcony angle, and if he gets taken down, that's the free rotation easy for the Derby Gods.
And what we're seeing at the moment is Orcs he's going for the aggression that he has no right to take. Sees the little peek there, knows that he is getting baited in, and smartly runs away, but it's not something that we've seen on the CT side at all. And now just running in towards A. Cameron alone as well on this site, playing from balcony. He's maybe got that advantage on his side. It's somewhere where he can hold two angles at once, but the long push coming in at the same time. And Zay clattering Cameron on A, and now this prompts a full rotation from the Sea Stags, but they shouldn't manage to get anything done here, just probably looking for weapons more than anything.
Orcs secures that opener. Bulldog follows up. Crit can take him down, but it doesn't look like too many more of these T's are going to fall here. Crit on maximum HP could find himself a one-on-one engagement against Fate, but now Orcs is rotating in with that follow-up AWP, so they really shouldn't lose a player unless they push directly into Crit at this point in time. It's not a total nightmare for the Sea Stags. They lost Pistol and they lost the follow-up force. It's to be expected, but this next full gun round should tell you slightly more about their CT side overall. Crit bides his time and does take down the AWP, but it's recoverable by the T's, so just a couple of kills yielded all in all from the Sea Stags. But this now is the round where we should see them get off to a slightly stronger start to the CT side.
Yeah, not fantastic utility on the UWE Sea Stag side, though. Only a flash and a smoke on Cameron and Samwell, but early flashes in towards B from Derby Gods, going to look for those early peaks, mollied off. Oh, and Orcs not going to see anybody on that corner anytime soon, just looking to bait out a little bit of utility with these flashes, maybe overdoing it just a little bit, but waiting for the smoke to come down, waiting for these nades to come in, just so that then late round Derby Gods can get some work done.
That has to be the plan. The Sea Stags, no snipers on the board, none can be afforded, so they want to avoid taking those one-on-one engagements against Orcs' AWP if possible. You can see the slow utility being deployed, and the name of the game here for the Derby Gods is to cause those CTs to waste as much utility as possible. And well, nades have been thrown, but so have frags been found. Crit gets the first one, taking Fate down. That's man advantage to his squad, but the push is coming over towards the B side of the map, and it's coming in at full force. All the AKs and the AWP. Magic doesn't look like he's going to be Molotoved off here, and he's able to secure the first kill as a result, but the AWP trades him out quick as lightning, and the positional information given away by Gary the Gutter there, but Cameron's here in construction to try and assist. They missed the timing on the wallbang to deny the plant, but they still are a player up until Bulldog lands that miracle trade and locks them in the 3-on-3 scenario. Wooly now doubles up onto Cameron, and this gets tough for the Sea Stags.
And it's completely gone wrong. Gary the Gutter going to lose his life as well on construction there, and that's 7-12 for Derby Gods. Still losing the game, but looking a lot more promising than they did on the CT side. And I was right about the aggression. It's something that Derby Gods was showing a lot on CT. Didn't do much with it, but it's really working out in terms of the T side. Orcs with 5 kills so far on this side. That's more than he got on CT, and it's only been about 4 rounds.
Indeed, performing much better on the aggressive side of this map, and it's the Derby Gods who are going to be continuing their aggression at the moment. Pushing forward, Cameron finds an opening shot with the Deagle. He's going to be looking to try and follow it up later on in the round. Backs off into the library for now, and that opens up the B split potential from the T's, but only if they don't get sandwiched in by Cameron, who's continuing to land tags. But Bulldog or Shay eventually trades him out there. Not before Gary the Gutter can get a frag in. Now Crit follows up onto Iro, and this round gets very difficult for the Derby Gods.
Blasted wide open, and one thing to realise as well is actually Fwuli gets that first kill onto Gary the Gutter on B, and now the bomb actually going to go down for construction. Nice and safe, can't be seen from CT or Banana, so a little bit of a double-edged sword there as well, because if a player pushes into CT, pushes down Banana, he's not going to be able to see the diffuse coming out. But no kits on this UWE Sea Stags team that are going to push in. Deagles in hand, AK on Crit as well. Don't realize maybe that these players are split at the moment. Nice swing from Orcs, gets a headshot with the AWP, but traded out well by Samwell, and now Fwuli, 1 versus 2, gets the first kill on Samwell. And now AK versus AK, Crit with armor, Fwuli with armor as well, but 48 HP, only 2 bullets away from death, and it looks like Fwuli's done all that he can to win this round. Not going to be able to salvage an AWP, maybe going to lose his life to the bomb, but oh my word, only surviving on 1 HP. But that's a round for the Derby Gods, stringing them together bit by bit. One thing to keep in mind is that they are on the T side, so 2 players staying alive isn't going to net lose them money into that in terms of their economy. 3 players staying alive, they gain just a little bit. Not got quite that luxury on the CT. You'll lose money on the CT if you've only got 3 alive, but yeah, losing a little bit of money. And in terms of the long game, UWEC Stags are at an advantage by taking a few players down in that round, but not quite good enough as Fate looking for the early frag. That aggression that we've associated with Derby Gods all this game, not going to work out. Cameron mopping up yet another kill, and Zay going to push through a smoke. I don't think he realizes there's 2 players here.
He has to back away immediately, as he knows if he throws his life away in that angle, this round becomes nigh on impossible to win for the Derby squad. They slowly take the bomb over towards Banana and start to have a feel around that side of the map. They've actually dropped CT smokes as well, but the Molotov was enough to keep them at bay. And with that follow-up smoke deployed, this B-bomb site is no longer an option for the Derby Gods to attack. They have no smokes left to cover CT, so they'd be reliant on their Molotovs to do it, and then there'd be nothing left for the retake. This is going to be a very difficult late-round situation for the Derby squad, and it looks like they might be considering bailing out to the A site.
And there's no utility really on either side at the moment. Magic got it all to do on B. He's been very good so far. Gary playing as backup here, playing as support. Actually, Magic going to be the player baiting in the shots. Gary going to swing, loses his head to Fwuli though, taken down early on in this push, and Magic releases the trigger. Not going to do very well though, but there's no smoke on CT, and Cameron's just mopping them up from that side. Good 2 trades, though, for Derby Gods, and now all of a sudden it's a 2 versus 2. Crit gets the headshot, and this is almost faster than I can speak at the moment, the way these kills are going. Crit finishes it up, and UWEC Stags win that mess of a B push there. No smokes, no utility, and a strong hold coming out from C-Stags.
And the economy is incredibly weird from the Derby side. Fwuli on over 11, everyone else on the squad looked like just about under 3k there. You can see minimal investment for everyone other than Shay and Fwuli, who've had to drop out the rest of the side to get this full buy on the board. But the bank would be empty after this one. That would be a 14-8 scoreline with a loss and potentially free match point, or map point rather, with no buy coming through to deny it. The Sea Stags themselves, that cash isn't perfect, and the Derby Gods know it. If they can just steal this round away, this one's worth 2, maybe even 3, depending on the economic decisions from the Sea Stags here. It's all a matter of timing. They have barely any utility left from the Derby Gods, and they're all positioned in towards this B bomb site to deploy their smokes to increase their chances for execution. But all of the CTs here, other than Gary, do have smokes available. They should be able to drop them and stall this Derby squad out of the site.
Yeah, maybe Sea Stags don't quite realize it, but if they'd just taken banana control, they might have been able to eke out just a little bit more of that utility before a push comes in, which, speaking of, starts now. Magic going to be taking this first face. Gary loses out to Fwuli, but Zay rather trades out on site, and this completely taken by Derby Gods with hardly any trades going in either way. And now, low HP on Fate, high HP on the entirety of the Sea Stag side, and just crunching in on this site slowly. Kits for all the players other than Cameron. No armor on Cameron, not that it really matters when they're dealing with an AWP.
Nairo secures the first kill. He doubles up, but so do Gary and Crit. 2 for 2 as Crit makes it a double for himself onto AWP. The last position to be checked is Dark, and Crit will do it with the triple. Last few seconds of the round, but with the kit, he secures it. That's 14-8, and that's potentially map point now, depending on the buy that comes out from Derby.
And as fast as that site was taken, it was taken back again. A really poor hold from UWEC Stags, mirrored exceptionally by our poor hold from Derby Gods. Incredible stuff for the retake, though. You can't take any of that away from the Sea Stags. It was well executed. They did have good timing playing together, and that is something to talk about. you know, we were talking about earlier on in this, you know, in the pre-game, how the Derby gods were going to be better as Fate pushing through that Molotov early, loses 80 HP, and Iroh low as well. Orcs going to lose his life as well to crit, and that Molotov doing complete work on A. Cameron as well with the P250, that's all he needs on the 20 HP player, and 4 versus 2 in favor of the Sea Stags. Lost the round from this aggression here. Zay looking left, right for that frag, but Cameron trades him out, and now Fuli, fortunately, lost to Samwell on A, and 15-8 to Derby in favor of the Sea Stags, and it's map point.
Oh, what a poor call to push through that Molotov in the most economically important round for you in this entire map. The strategy is to just push through all of your opponent's utility, and well, the result is 2 dead players and no success in the round. They're going to try and go equally as quickly up Banana, it looks like, as Orcs, assisted by a smoke, tries to push up further, and they have actually taken top Banana control off the back of this one as they fall straight back into the site.
It's a
Orcs
rush again.
push in even further with the Tech 9, but Magic is able to take him down, and the counter Molotovs should have slowed this push down a little bit.
It's another rush as well. Players with the bomb as well, looking to rush in. Deagles, though, in hand, and it's not going to work out. Magic mops up 1, looking for a second. That's a tight spray. Bulldog with a quick headshot, though. 4 versus 1 to stay in this map, and GG's being called in the chat. Crit gets the headshot, and that's 16-8 in favor of the Sea Stags. 1 map to 1 map now.
Indeed, that map advantage for the Derby gods neutralized by that Sea Stags victory on their opening pick. What a way to start things out with that dominant T side, and now it is set to get really interesting for the rest of this series. Don't go anywhere, as we have map 2 coming up for you right after this quick break.
of the sea, and this story stays with me like a haunting melody.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Newell CSGO Winter Championships, brought to you by Amazon University Esports and Twitch Student. It was a very interesting opening first map of the day there on Inferno, a 16-8 victory coming out from the UWE Sea Stags to bring it 1-1 in our best of 5 grand final, and it is set to get more exciting from here on out. My name is Protalis, and talking you through the rest of the action with me is Zakaria. How are you feeling after that first map?
Yeah, I think that maybe not what we were expecting. We thought Derby Gods were going to win that one, but UWC Stags coming out on top. It was, of course, their map pick going into this, so I think they themselves expected to win it. And maybe that void left by Zahen for the Derby Gods is going to really be a bit more of a factor than maybe even we were expecting.
Absolutely. His presence was sorely missed on the server in that last map, and it was really only Iroh, it felt like, who was able to sort of step up in terms of that statistical fragging power. Outside of that, there was not much to sing home about from the Derby Gods squad. Meanwhile, you go ahead and look over at the UWE camp, and it's across the board, all 5 players really turning up in terms of the fragging, but the 2 names on the tip of my tongue have to be Crit and Magic.
Yeah, I mean, on the tip of my tongue for an entirely different reason is Orcs, a player that was aggressive the entire game for Derby Gods, a player that really has shown his skill so far throughout the whole of the championship so far. He's been incredible, but just so aggressive tonight, so unbelievably aggressive that it really hasn't worked out for him at all in that game. And unless they can, focus on that aggression, back off a bit, mentally prepare themselves a little bit more for these games, especially Dust 2 is going to be one where you can't just run in and lose your life every round. You can't just push into tunnels because it's going to be taken advantage of. So it's Orcs for me that needs to really buck up his ideas for that Derby Gods team and really perform more as a unit in order to take this series.
Absolutely. And a brief recap of the maps then. We're heading to Dust 2 now as our next battleground. Mirage then potentially waiting as the one to follow. Train lurks in the wings if we need it as that final decider. And Nuke, of course, not going to be played as the Derby Gods walked into this best of 5 with a 1 map advantage. But that now doesn't mean anything. We are all tied up and we might as well be in best of 3 territory, except for Derby. They're obviously missing that presence in terms of fragging on the server, but it looks like we are just about ready to get into the match here on Dust 2. And really, the Derby Gods, they have to go big here to try and get a map back in this series.
And one thing that's interesting that we didn't highlight in that map pick is that Derby Gods picked the CT side in this map, which is generally sort of the worst side on this, especially if the utility is good coming out of the Sea Stags. This could actually end up going in their favor, even though it's not their map pick. But just going to be an early push in towards long. No players with any aggression towards B, but what they aren't anticipating is a player's pushed into tunnels, and now they know exactly where all the players are for UWE Sea Stags.
Oh, and it is Say who's able to land the first shot onto Crit as well. Shots being fired and trying to trade on to Orcs, but it's Fate pushing up mid, who's cleaning up these kills. The exit from Long being watched like a hawk. He now has to back away on just 11, but reinforcements have arrived to help assist him in these gunfights. Cameron can finally ring out for the first kill of the Sea Stags squad, and now Iroh is dependent on trying to extend his team's advantage at the moment. The gunfight won't quite go his way. He has to back off the site, and it's Samuel now under pressure, but performing under it indeed. Brings it back to the 3-on-3 and gives the Sea Stags a chance in this round. Iroh getting his head torn asunder really puts Orcs under pressure on the site.
And playing that one-way smoke, but whiffing. Only 2 bullets in the chamber right now as well. Gets the first kill. Gary as well. And both team players having to reload at the same time. And now a 1 versus 1. Orcs only 1 bullet away from death. Samuel, meanwhile, needs to have a headshot put on him to lose this round. And no armor as well on Orcs. Just going aggressive, but loses out to Samuel on long. And that was far closer than it had any right to be. Derby Gods knew exactly where Sea Stags were and still lost.
They fell back away from the angles. They gave up those one-on-one engagements, and the Sea Stags were able to exploit that to maximum gain. You can see they're not taking any chances in this upcoming round. 1 Mac 10 for crit, sure, but it is AKs and Deagles from there on out. They want to ensure their chances at victory, and it's a bit of a weird buy coming out from the Derby God squad. Fate and Orcs both staying on that level of cash might suggest they want to go for a double Orc setup.
Yeah, very interesting, to be honest. 2 players forcing, 1 player half buying, and then Orcs on full utility. It's a bit strange because then, yeah, I'm not really sure what they're doing, but not probably going to be getting anything done here. Just going to run out onto this B site, get the ball down. No real indications about the strategy as well for the UWE Sea Stags. Getting that kill through the wall there, Gary the Gutter, playing far better than he has in the past so far in this tournament. He's a good player, but struggled a little bit in this, even though UWE Sea Stags hadn't dropped a map until last week. And a tactical timeout actually coming up for the Derby Gods already.
Perhaps learning their lesson from that first map. They don't want to be on the receiving end of all that Sea Stags momentum. But this is a bit of a weird round to be calling the timeout in, to be honest with you. If you're thinking about it from a tactical perspective, surely you want to call the timeout at the start of that first full gun round. Give yourself a maximum amount of chance to talk about your upcoming strategies when it actually matters. Pausing at this point in time, I mean, sure, you can obviously be thinking ahead to the rounds in the future, but surely it would just be more beneficial for the team to use it while everything is fresh in their mind at the start of the next one. Either way, they've tried to break up that Sea Stags momentum a little bit, maybe resolve some issues on their end, who knows? And they're going to send a lot of players aggressively up towards mid here. Gary the Gutter's going to spot this out and relay it to his team, potentially. They're relying on this mid information to lean into the rest of the push from the Derby God squad, but it's left Iro under so much pressure in the A side.
And a player that's more than capable, has shown it so far, but actually going to lose out on mid. But that smoke, not good enough. Really gets ahead of Crit there, puts it on his mantle and takes it home. Now, the A site has been lost for Derby Gods, only on Deagles as well. Probably not going to get much more out of this round. I say that, Wooly gets the kill on Cameron, and that's one of their best players. Orcs as well, takes off Samwell's head, and now Magic on long. Gets the trade on Wooly. 2 players on short for Derby Gods, going to be retaking in the same manner, and Orcs just has to waste a little bit of time for his teammate to come in. 3 kills on this player, been playing very well considering the round difference at the moment. But Sea Stags playing smart, hiding in towards long, no one peeking from pit, and Orcs tapping away, but not anticipating 2 players to be pushing in. Zay just looking for the bomb defuse, but not going to get it. Magic with a more than competent kill, not quite able to save that AK, and it goes into 3-0 for the UWE Sea Stags.
That was actually a really risky strategy for the Sea Stags. They left both of the AKs that they had on that A ramp before retreating towards long, and that meant that the Derby squad were able to recover them and potentially use them in a 2-on-2 scenario. I think they tunneled in on the bomb a little bit too much there as they had the weapon advantage, but it's Fate who needs to worry about the tunnels in this round as he lands the opening quick shot, and the Sea Stags try to break into the B-bomb site. He's doubled up looking for the triple, but Magic can keep it in a 3-on-3 scenario. Smoke arrives before the doors, and the spray through that smoke is unable to yield dividends for the CT squad. The Molotovs now rain out into mid to try and deny this retake, but the CTs are looking for a way in before this bomb has gone down. What a boost here to look through the top of the door. Unfortunately, not going to garner too much in this round, it doesn't look like, but creative strategies coming out from the Derby Gods, and now they're looking to flash their way into the B bomb site. Time ticking down, and they're definitely committing. That barrel of the AWP spotted, receives a deep HE grenade, and it's Gary the Gutter who can open things up, follows it up with the window kills as well, and Iro in the 1-on-2 is cleaned up from the rear. A great attempt at retaking that B-bomb site from the Derby Gods, but another example of just how difficult to retake that site is.
And a very poor buy from Derby Gods, considering they ecoed two rounds there. They hardly bought. No utility on the players as well as they were pushing in, and they very much struggling to retake that site. If you saw at the start, no utility out for Derby Gods as they were retaking, despite that very impressive boost, which they still got in their back pocket, didn't give away anything. But Sea Stags hardly utilized anything at all, just rushed in, smoked the doors, and then that was it. They had enough to just keep Derby Gods at bay for, 10, 20 seconds there.
Pyro up close and personal. He's assisted by the 5-7, and it's actually Jay on the pistol that gets both the kills, but they have the info on the follow-up player. Not that it matters. This mid-set piece, how beautiful from the Derby gods. It works out wonderfully. Bomb control now. There's AUP and 2 AKs recovered, and a greatly defensible position against the remaining 2 C-Stags players. Magic going to be the first point of contact, and it's such smart play there, using the Deagle of Wooly just to play the headshot angle, as he's really going to be deficient on firepower anyway. They're not revealing much to the T's at the moment, but Magic has found the opening kill onto Fate. With his teammate falling, all 3 CTs can hone in on his position though, and that AWP is on the way. Nade lands right behind him, and the shots soon send him to the grave afterwards. The first round found by the Derby gods, and they've taken 3 rifles out of that one, so that's great news for their economy.
I thought it was always just me that threw the nades against the wall there. That's a very strange little clipping there. Absolutely wasn't on the wall, but didn't work out. I mean, not that it really mattered in that round. 1 versus 3, probably not going to get much done, but still a little bit of a strange issue there. And a timeout coming out from the C-Stags. Just going to slow this down. I mean, not really got the money to buy, so a bit strange again, but we'll see what happens, I guess.
Indeed, we will. They're definitely having a discussion about what they want to do in this upcoming round. Magic, with over 9k, has an argument to drop his teammates some rifles, and that looks like it's going to be what goes down. He can get out 2 AKs to the rest of his team. Crit can pick up a Galil, and they can be relatively competitive in this one, but they need an answer for this double AWP setup. That is what started to come into effect for the Oxford Brookes Vipers ever so slightly against them in that game on Saturday, but really this was a dominant affair from the C-Stags. As long as they can try and mediate this early CT economy, then they should have an easy time following through this map.
And this group of players is a group of serial winners at this point. They don't like to lose, and maybe just going to brute force their way with these guns. Not going to take this lying down, not going to look at this round and think that they're out already. One player losing his life, but it doesn't really matter for them. Looking towards mid, looking for a player to maybe aggress just a little bit too much, but not going to happen. Fully standing his ground in mid, just holding those doors, making sure nobody pushes out. And actually, Fate takes that peek, takes crits. Life in mid, and now it gets from bad to worse for the UWC Stags team. Samuel not expecting Fruli on the boosted on the box either, and now a 2 versus 5, and Iro spraying them down on tunnels, doing exactly what he did on Banana on B, just kill after kill after kill for the Derby gods, and that's 4-2 for the Sea Stags at the moment.
And it's a totally clean round for the Derby squad as well, which is another wondrous round for their economic situation. You've got Fwooly, Iro, and Orcs now all above 5k on that CT side, and it's Orcs continuing to ring out frags in this round. The Deagles are trying to claim victims, trying to deal economic damage, but actually the overextension there does end up dealing quite hefty cash damage to that CT squad. A very narrow miss from Gary the Gutter's AWP, and now he looks away at the wrong side. The pushes through, smokes are coming through at incredibly odd timings from the Derby God squad, who seem eager, desperate to claim a victory in this round. As Crit now takes down Iro, Fate is in a serious amount of trouble. Close range with an AWP. It's Gary the Gutter who takes him down, and that entire passage of play from the Sea Stags all stems from sticking around too long in that A-long position from the Derby Gods.
Their aggression coming to bite them once again. Derby Gods just not knowing when to back off. It's happened on Inferno. It's happening again on Dust 2, and they're going to lose this map if they don't learn when to back away. They should know the patterns of Sea Stags by now. They've played 4 maps against them, but just not taking it to heart, not taking any of the knowledge that they've learned, and just lingering and losing their heads. And now UWC Stags on a very strong buy. Derby Gods do have some money on them as well, but not quite the same utility that Sea Stags have, and throwing it all very, very quick into the round. Fate and Zay, the only ones left with anything at the moment, and going to struggle a little bit to get anything done if a push does come in all at once for the Sea Stags, which it looks like it will. The strat book for the Sea Stags just being pushed short.
Indeed, they're trying to force out as much CT utility as they can before the push comes through, but Orcs is ready and waiting. The flash is good, but the push doesn't end up coming through off the back of it. They're trying the shoulder peek and bait out the shot, but Orcs is able to land that head. The long contingent is being watched, but Fruli's taken down, and Gary the Gutter can follow up. That means it's Iroh, who's the man on contact, and they need to recover the bomb, but look at that flashbang, the Sea Stags. Oh, that is perfect. It bails them out there. The round could have gone so wrong with the bomb being dropped on short, but that one perfect flash leaves Fate totally alone in this 1-on-3.
And really a terrible push down onto that box. They had no right to get those kills, but that team play, those flashes, UWE C-Stacks learning as this goes along. Poor play against Oxford Brooks, poor play against Derby Gods and in the previous week, and now they've learned their utility. They've learned how to play together, and they've learned how to play as a team. And this group of players really has some potential now to potentially win this tournament this semester.
Just waiting for exits at the moment. Fate, it's about all he can hope to do. He might actually find a something, but actually Samuel's gone down into CT, so maybe no kills garnered by Fate's M4A1S. The AK turns back around, and does that kill come through after time? I'm not quite sure. I think he might just have gotten away with it there, Fate. Actually, though, no. Looking at his money compared to the rest of his team, it looks like he got caught after time there by a millisecond. That is a really harsh punishment.
Yeah, it means actually quite a lot in terms of the money for Derby Gods. It means they're struggling to pull out any weaponry. Fate on an MP9, and it looks like we're going to see a rush here out of UWE C-Stacks. Iroh ready for it, though, gets the first kill, loses all of his money, though, and now Orcs, the door not smoked, can get some work done from here. Actually legs a player on the boxes, but not good enough. 3 versus 3 of really finishes off Orcs' kill there. 2 MP9s still, though, on the retake. 1 M4 and no utility whatsoever. C-Stags as well don't have utility, only AKs, and Zay actually picking up an AWP here, maybe a little bit of a mistake, but we'll see. Fate just going to push in nice and slow, and the timing working out for him. Might see Magic's... Yeah, Magic loses his life, and now Gary, all to do on this site, looks away at just the wrong time, readjusts, gets the headshot, but loses his own head in reply. And that's 6-3, Derby Gods getting their 3rd round on the board, and all important really for the CT side. Want to be getting around 5-6 rounds, and a lot of money in their favour. 2 AWPs saved as well.
Just unfortunate on the timing there for Magic. As soon as he goes down, there's virtually no chance for Gary the Gutter, because not only is it a 1-on-3 situation at that point, but the T's are almost guaranteed to be playing Crossfire. So as soon as you take down the Tunnels player, they know exactly where Gary the Gutter is going to be playing from. They can wrap around and take him down with relative ease and put their 3rd on the board. They get their double AWPs back out as well, but they haven't quite put that C-Stags economy to bed. There are AKs on the board, and they're looking to take mid off the back of this one as well. Nade deployment yields minimum damage onto the C-Stag squad, but Iroh's going to stay aggressive in short here to try and deny map control.
One of the things about utility is if you're throwing it, it needs to either be doing damage or prompting more utility or backing people off of angles. Zay gets backed off as I say that, and now we're going to see a mid to A push potentially as these players start pushing up short, start pushing up mid, and Zay with no information whatsoever just knows that they aren't pushing CT. WEC Stags not doing enough though. Fate actually is pushed into tunnels completely, gets 2 for his troubles, and now Gary once again in a 1 versus 3. Ooh. That's a very nice headshot coming out from Gary, but doesn't know where either of these last 2 players are, and they know exactly where he is. Probably going to struggle in this round. 45 seconds left on the clock, so got time to move around, got time to make some adjustments to his positioning. And here's this player on short, but not going to win out in that one. And 4th round on the board for Derby Gods. Getting that closer and closer and closer as C-Stags take another timeout in this game.
The economy a little bit ruined now for the C-Stags, and the Derby Gods with a palpable opportunity to keep things at potentially a 6-6 scoreline. Starting off on their CT side of Dust 2, this is already looking much better from the Derby squad than what we saw over on Inferno. If they can keep this first half much more competitive, they'll be swapping into a second half scenario where they should have the advantage in terms of sides and potentially be able to put up a strong showing on this map.
Yeah, C-Stags really should be getting the majority of the rounds coming into this. I know that Derby Gods picked the CT side. I mean, God knows why they did, but C-Stags should be roughly 8-9 rounds in this, and a nice little boost as well. They've definitely scrimmed this map coming into this. And smokes, though, coming out from WEC Stags, something that they've done very often. 2 players pushing up short to combat it as well.
Ooh.
And Magic not going to get rewarded for that push through. A Molotov looking a little bit silly there. Just on pistols, though, not really expecting much. Probably just want to damage the economy a little bit. Maybe this is a good round now to find out how these players will react to different plays. Maybe push up long and see how they play towards long late on in the round. Push through B and see what happens there. But actually, as I say this, Crit gets the kill on short and maybe looking for kills rather than information at this point. Crit just going to wait, sit alone. 1 versus 4. Got nothing really to lose by sitting around and waiting to see how the aggression comes, but probably not going to get anything done. Derby God's smart enough to sit back and learning from the mistakes so far this series, learning that they shouldn't be pushing in all the time. Need to mix that aggression in with a little bit of discipline, as they've had so far throughout the entire competition.
Indeed, and it's the right strategy to utilize at this stage in the round. Why on earth would you try and walk into Crit's Deagle here? Just take a look at the cash reserves for the CT squad. They can't afford to be throwing weapons away at this point when you know there's a T-side full-buy coming through in the next round. Crit does manage to find 1 more kill before falling away, so he's going to stretch that CT money a little bit in this upcoming round. That could give the C-Stags an opportunity to keep this strong as they finish the first half, but that's all predicated on victory in this round. If they win this one, they can take that economic advantage for sure. But if Derby Gods claim a victory, this map is 6-6 and perfectly balanced. But that mid boost that we just saw the Derby Gods utilize, what it does do is leave B site exposed early on in the round. And we've seen the C-Stag squad rush that site a couple of times so far this half.
Yeah, I mean, the GWEC Stag strat book seems to almost be exhausted coming into this 12th round. They've pushed up mid, they've pushed up short, and they've pushed up long, and that's all they've got in their playbook. Nothing really exceptional coming out. No set mollies, no set nades, and actually maybe a lineup there, but 2 versus 4 in Derby Gods' favor. A little bit of a disappointing push into mid, as has happened all the time in this. For their mid pushes, Crit gets the kill on B, but that's no bomb in his hands, and Iroh holding it from mid. AUP is something that maybe will get him a kill in mid, though, if he does peek into Iroh, and Iroh peeking with a smoke out, not what you want to see. And now Zay and Fate just sat in CT, waiting for some aggression, waiting for some noise, waiting for that bomb to be picked up, and maybe going to... Actually, don't hear the bomb going down, but going to rush up forward, and if Crit takes this peek, he is going to get one through the door there, and now it's Zay, knows the players on the AUP, sees his backpack, not quite good enough, and Crit looking left and right, dodging and diving, knows that the player's not there anymore, there's no shadow, he can tell, and Zay just gonna stick this defuse, just tapping it, waiting for the player to peek from here, there, and everywhere, sees the leg as he backs away. Not going to stick it, just outing himself again and again and again, doesn't even have the defuse kit, and Crit gets the shot, and he had no right to win that 1 versus 3, catches a player with his nade out and catches 1 player through the door. That is incredible.
What a heroic clutch coming through from Crit. That one was totally fantastic. Dependent on incredible accuracy with that AWP. Needed the first kill, secured it. That second one through the doors, lightning fast, and in the one-on-one, despite a couple of missed shots, he outplayed his opponent towards the end there, especially with that movement. Now it's Magic, the first man out, clearing his corners and finding kills as a result. Oh, he even follows up onto the AWP. He could be on for the ace here, Magic. As he charges into the bomb site, the Galil gets it done. Anti-eco, no problem for Magic as he secures 5 kills and continues his team's scoring streak. They're up on 8 rounds now, and as we head into the penultimate round of this first half, it's probably the last opportunity that the Derby Gods have to make this one a semi-equal half.
Just a technical pause coming out from one of the 2 teams here. Gives us a chance to talk about their game so far. Obviously, they aren't really allowed to... or not meant to call these in order to to have a tactical timeout, so they should just be silent. But we can talk about what's gone on in the game so far. What do you think of the Derby Gods' play style so far? That more disciplined style that we've seen doesn't really seem to be rewarding them, but doing a little bit better than that Inferno game.
Mm-hmm. I have to agree with you there. I think that their playstyle on this map is really working well when they have that double AWP setup in hand. If they can get the two snipers in the correct positions and they can utilize them in effective firing angles, then they look like they have a decent defensive setup on the board. But as soon as it comes down to the Sea Stags overwhelming those snipers and almost also reducing the utility a little bit we saw in that last round for the Derby Gods, they had pretty much nothing available weaponry-wise to utilize their... the round before last, they had very little utility-wise to utilize towards the end of that round. So it seems like once you start pressuring that Derby money a little bit, you start to see the cracks form in their defense.
Yeah, the problem with this Derby team is really that utility usage. They're throwing it very early on in the rounds, and they're not having anything to retake. It's working out when they're getting these incredible kills, these really nice boosts that are coming out for them. We've seen, of course, that more standard boost on the A side. That's a self boost, just throwing a smoke down and standing on top of one of the barrels. But then you're seeing these boosts into mid from throwing a smoke. You're seeing a boost onto B. So they've got some strats worked out on this map, and that's very evident. But one thing, they're far too liberal with those smokes early on. They're too excited to get these flashy little kills, these nice, smoke down on mid, smoke down here, smoke down there. And it's not really working for them perfectly. If they're able to manage their utility a bit better, especially going into that late round, they'll do a bit more, I think. I mean, maybe a bit early to be calling them out for this. I mean, of course, they have won a fair few rounds in a row. Sea Stags were, I think, 4-0 up at one stage. So Derby Gods are making it a little bit more competitive than it was at the start of the game, especially, losing that pistol and then the forced round after that. Makes the round losses look a little bit worse than it is. But Sea Stags, so far, it all depends on this CT side, really, for the Sea Stags, especially because Derby Gods did pick the CT side coming into this, so maybe not as well versed on the T side.
Well, against the Oxford Brooks Vipers, the Sea Stags struggled slightly on their CT side, but really only slightly. They were still able to close out that game 16-6, which already makes it a much more dominant affair than what we've seen here on this map. That much is for certain, but just creative economic decisions coming out from Derby now as well. Going for the full investment here rather than in the last round of that half. It could work out if Shay finds the kill with that Deagle and brings it into a 3-on-3 scenario. That's about as well as you could have hoped for at the start of this round for the Derby Gods. Now, it's all dependent on the Sea Stags sending Magic into mid here and trying to get map information for his team. He knows there's nobody actively defending mid, but where is that B site player? That is the question. We can't risk having the bomb go across and not be aware of the angles. Magic waits for fate, puts that smoke down, and now they're going to hope to try and isolate a 2-on-1 engagement in this B bomb site.
And that's a good way to start that B take. Derby Gods with a very strong start, but not going to work out going into the late round, especially as Cameron kills Zay in mid. And now that's 9-5 in favor of the UWEC Stags, a round that they maybe expected to win, but made a bit shaky by that incredible push on long, really. 2 for 2 is more than I think what Derby Gods were expecting. But now we'll see some more, a more balanced round. We've seen 2 scouts coming out for the Derby Gods and only 1 Deagle. And now, once again, pushing aggressive on long. 4 players here, and Crit maybe doesn't realize this. Gets 1, going to see a second, and that's a bit of a late peek there, letting his teammate die. Just running to get the nade, the gun. Zay pushing very aggressively to look for it. Knows that there's not a player there now, and will probably call to his teammates to start rotating, start pushing in towards B. UWEC Stags well adjusted for this, though. Going to be pushing into mid. A poor smoke, and Orcs can push around this. Maybe get 1. Cameron ready for it, though. Gets the kill, and now really only with a scout. Can't do anything on B. We've seen the Derby Gods get work done from this site, but it's not going to work out for them, is it? Iro with a Deagle in hand, and that's it.
I mean, he's found the M4A1S, but he's also been smoked off from the angle. HE right to the feet, followed up by Flames. They know exactly where he is as he B-hops through that smoke. He gives double digits away to the Sea Stags, and that's the gamble. you play on the CT side by stacking that long position. You leave your B-bomb site completely exposed. Gary the Gutter, Crit and Magic, all 3 players on 15 kills or above for the University of Western England, while it's Orcs and Fwooly who are trying desperately to keep those frags going for their squad, but it's pretty balanced in terms of kills for the Derby Gods side as they now switch to the T side of things here on Dust 2. They're going to hope for this pistol round to try and narrow the gap between them and their opponents.
And CSGO just playing nice and passive at the moment, not looking for anything on long, not looking for anything on B either. Nobody going too aggro, just walking away slowly as a push comes out from Derby Gods here in mid. The overlay will be patched in just a second. Orcs getting a kill through a smoke. Cameron, though, with a nice little double there on the site, but all 3 players going down on B, and you'd think that B stack was going to work out for them. It did at the start, but now Crit 1 versus 2. All of a sudden, it's slid in Derby Gods' favour. Crit just eking out, maybe going to see the player here, actually rips off the head nice and quick there, and now 1 versus 1, sees the player on site, and that's left-right roller coaster there. Crit winning the round for the CSGO, and that's a fantastic little play there from both teams.
I mean, credit where it's due to Orcs. Quad kill in the round and nasty triple kill on the way into that B-bomb site to secure it initially for the squad. But Crit, cool as a cucumber with these clutches. What a high impact player he has been for his squad now, and really just continues to show that for us in this match. The Derby Gods feel the pressure. They go for the full investment. AKs, Galils, Scouts, whatever they can get a hold of, and they do land an early tag, but with a loss in this round, it's an eco in the next. That's potentially a 13-5 scoreline for the CSGO and a very difficult position to fight back from. It looks as though they're going to try for this early A long pressure, and the CSGO are definitely going to try and fight from range here as they expect to have the weaponry advantage, but long control is firmly given away. The CSGO, they have to clear short so that they can divert their attention back to this site and back to this execution. Magic gets the first, Crit gets the second, Magic swings round for the third as well, and the Derby squad are annihilated in A long. Jay, the last left on this scout, and he is just getting picked apart by the MP9. Nothing you can do about Magic, who replies to Orcs' Pistol 4K with an MP9 quad kill of his own.
Very disappointing from the Derby Gods there as they push out towards long. I mean, that player doesn't even have... It's not like he's farming players without armor there. He's swinging into players with half armor, with full armor. He's not getting headshots. They're just not killing him. That left-handed peek as well, it really shouldn't be advantageous to him, and Derby Gods has still lost it. 12-5, and that loss of Zahen really looks like it's going to bite them here. No utility, no armor, just pistols at the moment as they start pushing out towards mid. Samuel might be able to mop up some kills in mid, but actually only gets the 1 on a heavily tagged player. Gary just going to hide towards, well, Crit getting 2 kills as well while we're watching Gary. Crit mopping up kills on B, and now the boom should be all they get here. Orcs unfortunately dies to Crit as well. A 3k in the round for him, and a 13th round for the CSGO.
The plan was all Derby really could have hoped for out of that one, especially after they ended up getting onto the bomb site and Crit eviscerated them. But with just Glocks, it does mean they have a bit of bonus utility to bring forward into this round. Orcs is going to have his AWP in hand, and it's the 13x scoreline that you can see the CSGO start to lose control of the late game a little bit, start to get a little bit jumpy with their late round decisions. Orcs always going for the repeat, but he's decimated by the utility M4 combo. The rest of his team look like they're trying to set up an execution onto the B bomb side at the moment, and they are indeed going to be trying to follow through with that one. Samuel deploys the nade, looks right, but can't line up the shots as Gary now is in danger from behind Car, and he can't find enough damage himself. Missed timing on every player, it feels like, and to be honest with you, those FAMAS is really not working out for the CT squad.
Yeah, but one of the positives is they keep their money nice and high. Crit, of course, $7,600, going to go up to $9,400, I think, if they lose this one. So really not a problem for the CTs. They're going to have a lot of money. They hardly lost anyone on the other rounds, so will be nice and high. Samuel going to struggle a little bit for utility, but the CTs only need to buy half armor, don't need to pull out the head armor as well, so maybe going to make some money-saving adjustments to some of the buys that he would normally make. As long as the Derby Gods don't come out with Mac 10s and drop their AKs, that shouldn't be too bad for them. Looking for the kills on long here, Iro. Maybe not going to get anything with the short round timer, though. And a timeout coming out for the Sea Stags, something we didn't see on that Inferno map. And I mean, so far, I'm fairly sure most of the Sea Stags timeouts have worked out in their favor, winning round after round when they've called one.
Well, this would be arguably the most important one yet in the series. With a win, they would deal a crippling blow to the Derby economy. Not quite a lethal blow, but certainly a damaging one, and they go up to 14-6 here in what is the second map of our best of 5 today. The Derby Gods coming in with that 1 map advantage, and they'll be hoping to turn that into 2, but it's a long journey to come back here into Dust 2 and fight off your opponents on one of their stronger maps. AWP in hand for Magic, you know the Sea Stags are going to be fighting for this one.
Mentally as well, they're going to lose that edge. If they lose this map, they're going to have lost 2 maps in the series and struggle really to get back into it, especially because it's Sea Stag's pick next map as well. But just actually very aggressive from the Sea Stags on middle here. 2 players pushing aggro. Fwuli gets 1, but maybe not going to expect the second as Cameron mops him up on top mid. And now this prompts a full-on rush on A. And just playing retake as well. Don't realize this, the Derby Gods. So they've mollied out. They've thrown so much utility, have nothing to hold the site themselves. Magic trades 1-for-1 on site, and Orcs gets another one on CT as well. Now a 2 versus 2 situation. Scratch that 2 versus 1 as Cameron gets 1. Scratch that 2 versus 0. Incredible little headshots coming out from the UWE Sea Stags, taking that to 14-6 and really screwing the economy a little bit for the Sea Stags. Iro very low on money. Zay and Fwuli should be able to buy comprehensively, but Iro only on a Mac 10.
And it's a double AWP setup on the T side of Dust 2 in a round where the economy was stretched at best. They seem confident in this B execution, though. It's bought them 1 round on the T side, and maybe they hope it'll buy them another. That nade's good onto Fwuli, down to 54, and that smoke is... Oh, the spam might even find him. The M4A1S, it works out. The flash comes through from the T's, but I mean, what a waste of time at this point. Should they even go for this execution? They don't even need to waste the smoke to put out that Molotov from Gary the Gutter. They're instead going to focus their efforts on this T side at pushing elsewhere. Crit has already rotated into the mid, and he's on 25 kills so far this map. If he can get something done, just a single kill is all he'd really be looking for from this mid position, and he would be in a wondrous spot. They're going to try and jump through with the AWP. First shot missed, second one missed as well. Both snipers down as Fate and Iro must win this round to deny map point.
And that's where the money being poor comes in really handy for the UWE Sea Stags. No, they're pulling out 2 AWPs, but no head armor on either of the players, and Crit just with 2 headshots, 1 taps, and that's it for that mid push. Iro just going to look for this kill towards CT and maybe going to sneak past Cameron here. Actually gives away his position a little bit. Still gets the kill with some smart little sideways peeks, shoulder peeks there, and actually gets the AWP 1 versus 2 with the bomb. And could do a little bit of work here. Only 20 seconds left on the clock, though, and knows that he's got to make some noise, got to make some room on the site. Doesn't know that there's no player on A, and running up. Looks away at just the wrong time, and that's Magic getting the kill. Gary the Gutter assisting. 15-6, and that's map point for the Sea Stags. Taking this to 2-0 in terms of the maps, and, well, if they win, and 2-1 overall.
Just a bit of a sad one there in terms of the clutch attempt. Obviously not aware of where those Sea Stags players are going to be, so doesn't feel safe about leaving the CT angle. And at 15-6, this one is looking dominant for the Sea Stags. Krieg from Fate, quick on the peak, though, takes down Gary the Gutter, who neglects to smoke those B tunnels. And there's a push coming out through mid as well. Not expected on the B bomb site. Orcs overwhelms it, and oh, the bomb nearly got caught with a push out of A long there from Magic. He nearly had the opportunity to catch it, but actually A short is the angle under attack here. This could be a bit of a missed decision unless Iro just walks out and finds a double kill. But hang on. Oh, surely not. They're sending the bomb solo over towards the B bomb site, and Magic is creeping in over here. Thankfully, they're rotating additional players over to help defend, but that could have been a really close one.
Yeah, almost that round. UWE Sea Stags with so many opportunities to win, and Derby Gods just getting a little bit lucky maybe with the timing, a bit lucky with some very nice headshots. We didn't see them on screen, but I'm sure that Iroh was getting those not through luck, but through skill. The man has been incredible so far in this competition entirely, not just in this series. And we're going to see a full eco coming out for the Sea Stags as well. Not enough money to really buy up at all. Gary the Gutter going to save, presumably to drop an AWP to his teammate in Cameron, who has bought an armor and a deagle. Can do some work, especially since he's playing on that short angle, nice and close. So maybe just going to be able to spam a couple of shots. And Magic playing that angle that we saw Crit get more than a few kills on before.
Oh, Magic, he's only been able to find the one this time. Orcs able to land that no-scope, and unfortunately for Cameron and that deagle, it's not able to get much done. But look at the bomb creeping out of the tunnel at the moment. Thankfully, actually, no, the Pistoliers have found it before the remaining players arrive. Orcs on the AWP, but the Pistols are here in a crossfire. Gary the Gutter, though, just has no idea where to look as they run out of the tunnels. He flashes himself. Oh, this is so messy, Gary. Please end this round. It is Jay who ends up getting it done, and, well, there wasn't much to be expected from that one out of the Pistols from the Sea Stags, but again, it's another round that is much closer than it needs to be.
Yeah, money building up for Derby Gods. Not that it matters too much unless they start losing 4 players every single round. 7 rounds in a row, their mountain that they have to climb, and UWE Sea Stags confident enough, just going to be ecoing once again. They know how many rounds they've got left to win. So Hawk's going to be sensing on that angle. Oh. Gets a quick scope there, looked like a no scope, but the kill feed says otherwise. Watching for the players dropping 1, 2, and 3 kills in this round. Cameron stopping him dead in his tracks, though, and just going to try and save that AWP, surely. The players, though, from the Derby Gods going to be hunting him down, looking for these kills. Cameron, though, not even satisfied with just holding the gun. He wants to get kills as well, flashing and mollying and shooting these players all over the map. Fate only on 11 HP as well, could work out in favor of that deagle that he has in hand. And actually, Cameron set up on the long position as well, reading Derby Gods like a book at the moment. Easy kills for this player, and he's only 12 and 16, believe it or not.
He might get a little bit higher than that, but he just misses the timing. Tucks around the door with the deagle, spots the shadow, does land the spam, and he might be on for the ace here to save the AWP. All he now has to do is run away, and I don't think there's anything Fate can do about it. So what great work there from Cameron. If he deployed that Molotov, he might have got the ace there for free, but that's an AWP recovered into this round, a round where the Sea Stags were going to buy anyway, so it's a huge bonus weapon recoverable, but this is a great opportunity for them to close out the map.
Yeah, and one thing that Derby Gods do have is that all their players are roughly around the same kills. Orcs outperforming a lot of them, but is on the AWP on a bit of a more long-range map than the maps we've seen. The map we've seen prior in this best of 5 so far. Meanwhile, on the UWE Sea Stags, we've got Crit fragging out, but the rest of the team a little bit lower on the scoreboard and actually given up long already. Magic having to fight on Car. This is not a favourable angle at all, and now we're going to see a full push in from the Derby Gods, matching that utility as well. So when the Molotov comes in, the smoke goes down to stop it, but A-Long given up, Short given up, but Crit and Magic somehow teaming up for kills on Long here. Not a very good, in fact, no smoke whatsoever going down on CT, and that smoke on CT not going to be good enough to cover off the long push. Luckily, a smoke comes in from Orcs to push in, but 4 versus 3 when they have no right to. Fuli hears these 2 players pushing up, though, releases his trigger. That trigger discipline there to get the 2 is very impressive. And now it's all in Derby Gods' favour all of a sudden, from a 4 versus 3 into a 3 versus 1. Tumbling down for the Sea Stags, and that's a head gone for Crit as well. And this is what I mean. Derby Gods performing well as a unit, while Sea Stags, all this discipline, all this team play just gone on this CT side. They're just fumbling rounds together at the moment. I mean, right now, they've fumbled 0 rounds together in the past 4 or so.
It does feel like the Sea Stag squad, once you start entering the later stages of the map where it's time for them to close things out, they can get a little bit wobbly. They can lose the firmer grasp that they might otherwise have had on the game. And despite being a man up on that retake, they neglect to be worried about any kind of a short player. This time, Crit's able to double up with 2 massive Deagle headshots that he can convert into a recovered AK, make that 2 recovered AKs if Cameron can haul his butt over there and secure one of those rifles. Gary's even found a Deagle kill, and is this how it ends? The Sea Stags with the Deagles? Oh, Gary, through the smoke, he's found another, and Orcs is left on a 1v4 now. AWP in hand, bomb on back, and 70 seconds on the clock. He's just waiting, you have to feel, for those Sea Stags players to rotate into the B bomb site, perhaps so that he can rotate out to A, but that Molotov denies his access to B. He just has to sit in the tunnels, try and play with time at the moment. He has absolutely no idea where his opponents could be.
And this is going to be how it ends, isn't it? He's given away his position. They know that he's in tunnels. There's only one place he can go. 45 seconds. He's not even venturing towards the T-spawn. Just going to slowly shift out, looking for these kills, but doesn't realize he's running into 3. Gets an early tag, but Samwell with the spam dig into his body, and that's all she wrote for the Derby Gods for this map. And now 2-1 in Sea Stag's favor, giving up that map advantage and, in fact, going down a map now.
Well then, can the Sea Stags get it done with a clean sweep in this best of 5, or are the squad of the Derby Gods going to be able to tie things up and take us to a final map? Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mirage coming up after this quick break.
Forever the one you call. from a broken home. I gave you all the bricks that I own and know. I'm letting go, I'm breaking these walls down, breaking these walls down. If you want adventure, then fly to home. But if you wanna travel, then go alone. Yeah, what's the point in us if I never know? Yeah, if you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired with yesterday. Harder, harder. I fell where my demons dwell. My own little nightmare, I call it hell. Oh well, it's time to get back up. Climbing and climbing, I'm done with this ride, is what I tell myself, so I could feel something else. Yeah, I guess I had my bad days, but it doesn't mean I lost my style. Darling, where were you when my heart was on the ground? I thought time would prove that you would stick around. I guess time stands still, a king without his crown. Now I'm breaking and you're faking, girl. You never made a sound. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired with yesterday. Harder, harder. I lost my best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me. I saw no shadow, I looked around, searched every building and home that I found. I saw no shadow, but felt a glow. The warmth inside me, it kept me afloat. It felt like heaven had found my bones and gave me comfort when I feel alone. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go alone. If I fall, break my bones, I will scream even louder. 'Cause I'm not dying alone. I lost my best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me. best friend to the heavens crying above me. The gain's an angel, I lost a friend. I felt like dying again and again. I went through hell, stared at death, but I keep fighting with each living breath. I saw no way out from where I stood. Felt like the fire had burned me through. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better.
Hello everyone and welcome back. What a strong performance it has been from the UWE CSGO, 16-8 and now 16-10 on Dust 2 to bring us on to Mirage, which could be our third and final map of the day. The Derby Gods need 2 in a row to try and claim this series in their favour. And talking you through the rest of the action is myself, Protalis, and joining me again, of course, is Zakari.
Hello. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. We've got the CSGO. This is their pick, this map. So, I think we're going to see a 3-1 if I'm being honest. Of course, we are going into Mirage as our next map. And to be honest, I think it's set and done already to the CSGO. I know we haven't even seen this map, but I don't think we'll be seeing all 5.
It does have to be said that throughout the day, the CSGO squad just has been on top of things in terms of the fragging. And, while for the Derby squad, Orcs is really trying to make those aggressive plays work out in his favour and try to pad out his own statistics on that scoreline. Unfortunately, it really is not enough for that Derby squad to push things over the line. It looks like, though, we are just about ready to get into this matchup, everyone. Potentially our third and final map of the day. And with the CSGO on the pistol round, they've picked up a heavy amount of early utility.
Yeah, and nothing on the Derby Gods side, relying exclusively on aim at the moment to stop what looks like it's going to be an A push. Maybe, well, actually, I know exactly what this strat is. We're going to see stairs and jungle smoked and then a push onto the CT spawn. But this probably isn't going to work out for them. A player hiding underneath Palace can be everything for them and actually gets one and a second one, Zay, but traded out well by the 2 T players.
Indeed, now 2-on-3 scenario bomb trying to make its way onto the site, and it looks like it should be able to be planted there. Gary the Gutter and Magic both tagged down, but still surviving. That bomb not yet safely planted, as Gary is actually zoned out from this bomb site now and stuck in the Tetris position with a minute left on the clock. He could potentially back out and rotate away, but they are going to commit to this engagement, and if Magic can land a headshot, there's a chance in this pistol round, but unfortunately the double peek is too strong and Gary has run out of ammo to get it done.
And like I said, that player underneath the Palace doing bits really in that round. Nice kills there, getting 2 on his name for Zay and managing to afford an MP9 with full utility going into this round. Will be able to stop any notion of a force, which it looks like Crit is going to be going for. Bought the head armor and probably going to see a deagle coming out for him in a second as we actually go into a technical pause. I'm not sure which team has called it, but it shouldn't be too long before it stops. But just gives us a little bit longer to talk about that pistol round and that strat that came out for the CSGO. Protalis, what's your take on that?
They went with a lot of utility on that T side, but it looks like it was pretty anticipated. The A execution from the Derby Gods, the rotations were quick enough, and they just weren't able to land the headshots at the end of the day there. They probably should have committed to the plan. It was really weird for my money. They had the bomb on the site virtually, but then Gary, I think perhaps in a bit of the confusion with those spam shots coming through the smoke, he ended up retreating to Tetris and maybe didn't realize he did actually have the bomb on his back. If they got the bomb planted there, maybe it's a slightly different scenario, or even if they tried to back out to the B bomb site, but just sitting and waiting absent a plan with Magic in an aggressive position as he is, makes it very difficult for his teammate to trade out. So slightly ineffective in terms of the late round plays there coming out from the CSGO squad, but it's just the pistol round here on Mirage. Not too much to worry about at the start of this one.
Yeah, and one thing the Derby Gods did well in that round to counter was not having anybody towards stairs. It's a mistake that a lot of teams tend to make at this level. They will play a player towards stairs, which does work if a mid push comes out, but when that doesn't come, it ends up really messing over the rotate and the hold onto that A site. But a rush coming out from the CSGO here, all of them with armor, all of them with Mac 10s or Deagles, but Fate holding with the XM gets one and $900 to his name in that one. But Iro actually gets the bomb and almost gets a second, but Cameron mops up on the site, and it's a 2 versus 3, but Cameron on very low HP. Gary holding behind, Zay not ready for it as well, losing his head, and Cameron still only with 4 HP, still gets a headshot on Wooly, partly in part due to that scout on the player.
Well then, the Derby side, that is a total sickener. They're forced into economic dismay and forced into an investment in this round. Scout, Mag 7, 3 Deagle are certainly not ideal equipment-wise, as it's Cameron to speak with his Scout first on the mid-angle, but the utility favouring the Sea Stags here is what should be the difference maker for the Sea Stag squad. Crit already opens up onto that Scout of Orcs. The Deagles, of course, still a threat in this round, but you're expecting the Sea Stags to be able to take this one as long as they check their angles methodically.
They should win this one. Of course, the Derby Gods have forced into this, but only... Well, actually, most of the players now have head armor, so will still be a bit of a struggle for the players on the MP9s, the players on the Galils, the M4s, but don't realize maybe that the player has pushed onto ramp and may go a little bit too aggressive on A, even though B is the site that they really should be choosing. The player on ramp has everything to do, and Z actually gives away his position instantly, and Zay now is the player that has the weight of the round on his shoulders, hiding in that corner with a Deagle, making no noise, letting the bomb go down, and gets the headshot, but... Well, actually not letting the bomb go down. The bomb never goes down, but UWE Sea Stags still win it. Getting the kill on the site player, and the Mag 7 not doing any work on that ramp at all. Just not got quite the range to work it out. Fate, unfortunately, losing his life, and 2-1 in favour of the Sea Stags, going into an anti-eco round.
Yeah, Iro goes down on the B bomb site there. And while Jay is in Firebox, I think he assumes that the rest of the Sea Stags have just taken the bomb over towards that B side of the map. It's an all-out mid-rush in this one, and the Derby Gods will get a single kill at bare minimum. Jay could still find something with this P250 if he stays hidden for long enough, but this should be the round pretty much said and done from the Sea Stags' point of view. Yet again, just an anti-eco, so not too much that they had to worry about. They'll have the 3-1 lead in this half, and they'll only lose a single player in this round. The full buy can come out from the Derby Gods here, but utility is going to be lacking for sure if they invest into head armor, so sacrifices are going to have to be made, and actually, they want to have another Deagle round, it looks like, just to pad out their economy.
And too aggressive from Crit in that round. Something maybe some people didn't pick up on there, but he pushed in to try and get the kill in the connector player before even paying attention to the AK that was dropped on top mid, and as a result is playing on a Galil this round. Flashes coming out early though from Derby Gods, from UWE Sea Stags. Iro gets one and trying for a second. Samuel getting two though and opening up that B site, and this will be a strong call from the Derby Gods to do a full rotate. Deagles in hand for all of the Derby Gods players. Not really enough to push into this site, to be honest. Zay losing his head as well on underpass. And now 2 players both in kitchen. Make that 1 player. Make that 0 players. 4-1 for the Sea Stags, and 3 players staying alive. Keeps their money nice and high and makes it a little bit more difficult for the Derby Gods. And a PP Bison being dropped over to Magic as well for good measure, just to rub it in the Derby Gods' face that they are winning this game.
I hope this isn't, I was going to say, not a little bit of an economic mystery as he does switch back to that AK. Double AWPs are out for the Derby squad, which is traditionally the buy that predicates their beginning to win some rounds here on the CT side. But again, that utility is so limited. 2 smokes and a single Molotov remaining with just 20 seconds gone off the clock. They are going to be under pressure if we advance into a late round scenario, and the Sea Stags seem very keen to set up and execute on this A-bomb site. Standard smokes dropped and players following through like a waterfall right now. Fruly decimated from behind. Triple as Jay from atop these stairs is trying to peek around through the gap in the smokes, but has missed his timing onto the CT player. Fate taken down by Samwell. He will get one at bare minimum onto Magic, but now that bomb's going down in the site, and these Molotovs are destroying the CT players. With Shay and Orcs both on 12 HP, this retake is nigh on impossible.
And Sea Stags running by the mantra that if your strat doesn't work, you just try it again. That pistol round strat coming out again for the Sea Stags, realizing that they probably are playing a player towards that stairs position, and so just able to smoke stairs, smoke jungle, and push out onto that A site. Nice and easy take for them. 2 easy kills as well onto players that aren't really in positions to get anything. Just running out chair, running out from triple, and really not the best positions for the Derby Gods to be playing. Going to have to save into this round, and their money on Fate and Fuli is not going to be very good. Luckily, because 3 players are staying alive, they will be able to be dropped M4s by their team, but utility not going to be good on 2 players from the Derby Gods team, and it ends up probably, if they don't win this, going to be 7-8-1 in favour of the Sea Stags.
There were early indications that the Derby Gods might have been starting to tilt towards the end of that last map, certainly struggling in terms of the fragging, and you have to feel that if they can't pull something out of the bag with these full guns eventually, if they can't get some spicy individual plays to inspire some confidence in the squad, things could start to dry up inspiration-wise for the Derby side. Cameron, little does he know, Jay awaits on the other side of that smoke. He's crept out at the perfect time through the lower tunnels. Needs to get the right angle on this AK, as he doesn't expect Jay to be in that tight position. He can smoke himself out now and should be able to get out of there. That's risky from Magic even to repeat. Has to retreat from the angle now, and he knows it. Great work from Jay to bring it back into the 4-on-4.
And he's got surprise on his side now as well. That Molotov coming in behind him from a teammate means that nobody thinks that he's in this connector, and it's worked out for him. Magic not expecting Moncat at all, just stud watching towards short there. No indication that the player's in connector, and now a 2 versus 4 for UWE Sea Stags. Make that a 2 versus 3 as Crit gets a nice little headshot on site. Orcs, Zay trades it out, and Gary the Gutter gets the kill on Fate. Now looking for a kill on top connector, but not quite enough. Takes a player down to 19 HP. The Derby Gods double up their rounds so far, 5-2, and no money on this side either. Zay got a bit of cash on him, and Iro as well, but once again we're going to see a player with no utility whatsoever on the Derby Gods side, or if he does have utility, not really an impressive gun. Probably going to have a Deagle, a 5.7, something along those lines.
Well, I said I wanted to see some spicy individual plays in that round, and Jay opens it up with an ace there. All 5 kills going his way. Brilliant play, but also slightly worrying for the Derby side if you're totally dependent on individual plays like that to win rounds. This is the round where they want to start to inspire confidence. Yes, we were looking for those flashy plays to sort of build momentum and fire the squad up, but now we need to see them working effectively as a team. That is what should help them with the mental game here, help them get back into things to try and tie up the scoreline. If the Sea Stags can come off the back of that one with a dominant round victory, not only would they heavily damage that CT economy, but they'd also damage that CT mindset.
And I think just in terms of the number of rounds that each team needs, if Sea Stags get 2, maybe 3 more rounds in this half, I think that's going to be all she wrote for Derby Gods. They're going to really struggle to get back into this. Iro has pushed aggressively, though, answering your questions about whether they can play as a team, whether they can get those frags all together, not relying on Zay anymore for that aggression, and it's well played out of them. Now this is a real trial by fire as their top frag goes down, and Fate having to hold mid alone, Fruli losing his life as well, and now the Derby Gods have lost this A site completely. Just one player hiding in Palace might be able to catch them by surprise if he takes it well, but Cameron ready for that peak, ready for him to go out, and just too aggressive there. No, not waiting for the bomb to go down at all, just peeking out willy-nilly and losing his life. Iro looking for one. Fate actually gets a kill and manages to go up to 3 kills in this game so far, and a 2 versus 2 actually. Samwell very low as well on the AWP, unscopes at just the wrong time, sees the player drop though and gets the kill just on the side of the triple wall there, and oh, they've actually won the round. Another kill comes out as well for Crit, and that's 6-2.
It is indeed, despite slightly impressive play from Iro, it's great adaptation from the Sea Stags once again, and Samwell nearly misses the timing but lands that end shot there, and that is a sickener of a round to lose from Derby. They win one off the back of an ace, but head straight now into economic ruin as they have to just take the Deagles to try and give their economy a bit of a break. And it's really the CT economy on Mirage. It's one of those maps where I feel the economy can be punished more than any other on the CT side. I don't know why indeed that is. It's not a map that has a firm CT advantage overall. It's not a map that's necessarily 100% T-sided, but you can really find yourself almost in a worse economic position as the CTs on Mirage if you win a couple of isolated rounds at the start of the half than if you win none at all.
they need to start racking rounds together. No head armor on any of these players. Doesn't really matter. Nobody going to be using that pistol other than Cameron potentially. Or if there's a very difficult round. Iroh there, using that shot in order to mask the sound of him jumping onto B-Apps there. A play that maybe some of the lower ranked players might not understand if you're just tuning into Counter-Strike for the first time. It's something you do just to mask the sound of you. They'll be able to hear the shot fire, but nothing more than that. Now we're going to see probably an execute towards B. The bomb is far back in T-spawn as Magic and Crit open up this site, and Cameron getting the AWP shot as well on Iroh on the site as well. And this is the round over for Derby Gods, just hiding with those Deagles. Orc's going to have to save the AK in spawn. And the UWEC Stags aren't going to let that one go easily, rushing in to try and get those kills. And I mean, they may as well. Look at the money on this side, all hovering around 7k other than Magic and Cameron, but still can afford to push in.
Absolutely. The Derby Gods at this stage in the game, how much pressure are they really feeling? You have the one map advantage coming into the best of 5. Now you're 2-1 down. Your opponents potentially with match point if they can get a map victory here. And now leading 7-2 on the T side of Mirage. How on earth are the Derby Gods going to find a way back into this one?
I don't think they do, to be honest. They need to change this. I mean, the one thing that's been working out for them is that aggression into passiveness. And it worked on Dust 2 as well. And we saw that it worked on Dust 2. But they're losing mid so often. They're losing B so often that they can't work together. In fact, there's not really a side of the map that they aren't losing at the moment. 3 players going towards A in order to bolster it, and no one going mid. Just going to flash in and try and take it late on in the round. Smoke's coming in, utility coming in, and Wooly gets the first kill. Puts it in Derby Gods' favor. 5 versus 4 now, and this could be what they needed as Zay gets a kill on Underpass as well. 2 players in mid and 2 players going to be pushing in. Zay over-aggressing a little bit there. Maybe he shouldn't have gone that aggressive, but Orcs catches them out as well on left side of window. And Cameron traded out well by Iroh, and Derby Gods have shown exactly what we wanted to see there. That's a load of kills in mid, not by holding it aggressively, but by retaking it slowly and late into the round. That's very impressive.
But now they have 3 AWPs on the CT side, and I do not like this decision at all. It's so risky picking up the triple snipers. You just leave yourself under so much pressure, because if by some nightmare it's the rifles who go down first, as you have to expect, they're taking closer range engagements, more likely to be up against multiple Ts at once. You do not want to be in a scenario where you're relying on 3 AWPs to retake a bomb site.
Well, and if you look as well at the kills on these players that have the AWPs, these are just the players that are struggling. And this is a problem for players that maybe don't have that mindset, don't have the mentality to come back. Instead of trying to, play a little bit different in the round, trying to alter the team play, they instead just default to the AWPs, default to the weapon that might get them a one-shot kill, and it means that their retake potential is completely shot now. If they lose this B site, as UWEC Stags are lining up for a full B execute, smokes coming down probably onto this site, you'd assume. I think there's going to be a player lining up a smoke onto kitchen window. I say as Magic just pushes out without any utility whatsoever, just going to run out onto this site and get the first kill. And there's a player on short though, might get something done, but Gary takes him down, and now the rotate comes in, and this is what I mean. 2 AWPs on the Derby God side, and what are they going to be able to do? They need to be getting shots through the smoke, no scopes. Almost nothing they can do as Zay going to lose his life as well. They trade places in the smoke, it doesn't matter. Magic still gets the kill, full blind through that smoke. He hears the player run past him, and they're just playing out of their minds, the C-Stags at the moment. 2 AWPs on the Derby Gods side being saved, but it doesn't mean anything at the moment. They aren't doing anything with them. They're just getting exit frags. It doesn't mean anything for how the series is going to go.
And Fruli, oh no, he's got his knife out. Why? Get your knife out just so that you can shift all the way over to a different corner. There was no even real point in dodging that angle. He throws the AWP away for nothing at the worst possible time in the round. 8-3 now for the C-Stags, down to Deagles yet again for Derby. They need to find a route to recovery quickly, or this grand final is all over.
And they need to realise that the Orcs aren't the ones that are doing it. Orcs actually pushing top mid early, getting the headshot, and maybe going to do wonders for his confidence here. Looking for the kills, but Magic flanking from underpass. Fate, though, peeks in from bottom mid and gets a second one as well for his troubles in mid there. And now, all of a sudden, it's in favour of the Derby Gods this round.
I mean, a really questionable decision made there. When you lose crit early on in the round, so Cameron needs to be watching that bomb. Instead, he sticks around a little bit for the spray down. Now, you understand that because you have Magic in underpass coming forward to try and garner some kills. But when Magic goes down, Cameron continues to peek mid. He continues to push out. He should have got that bomb and got out of there way sooner. That is a freebie given away to the Derby squad there by just giving away one-on-one engagements in mid when they absolutely didn't need to. The guns are straight back out from this Derby side now, and they could still make this an 8-7 half.
I mean, remember, the Derby Gods picked this side of the map. They chose to start on the CT side, and they're still losing. This means that their T side probably not going to be much better than this. If they don't buck up their ideas soon, momentum's going to fall further and further in the Sea Stag's favour, and this is going to be the game lost for them. They did manage to win the last round, which will be solace for them. Many players staying alive, but they need to win a gun round, and soon. Orcs starting that off well, and 2 more kills coming out very quick for Orcs and Fuli. All headshots as well, even with the AUE. And that was faster than I could blink there. Derby Gods getting 5 rounds on the board, and exactly what you want to see if you're a Derby Gods fan. Fate with lots of money coming into this. Zay as well, and they can afford to lose this round if they wanted to and still buy next. Not that they want to, of course. Already losing in the half so far, and that's not really what you want to see as a Mirage player. It's usually a little bit CT-sided, 8-7, 9-6. Sometimes you might see the T-side winning, but UWC Stags, I mean, they're trouncing this so far, all rushing underpass as well, nice and quick coming out of them, all with the Deagles, and crit trades Zay out very well there. I mean, for a rush, that's quite impressive with the Deagles, and that Fate's been spotted on short, still manages to get one, still looking for the kills as well, not backing off quick, and Iroh supporting him on short as well. Fate gets a 3rd in that round, and robbed of the 4th as well, so Fate showing up massively there, but once again, one player doing all the work for Derby Gods, and promising in terms of the rounds, but not so promising in terms of the team play there.
And it's another round where the UWEC Stags had all the advantages, but because they threw that one advantage away in the Deagle round, they give so much momentum to their opponents, and now the Derby Gods can finish this 8-7. You saw it happen against Oxford Brooks on Overpass. They gave that squad a bit more room to maneuver than they needed to on the 3rd and final map of the series, and considering this could very easily have ended 10-5, 11-4 for the Sea Stags, they really have thrown the last of this half away, just relying on this default mid-take time and time again that is being well read and countered by this point by the Derby Gods. The whole game plan on the T side was to keep that CT economy in check, and by throwing away that round to the Deagles, they've really messed up their half.
This is a little bit of a one-way for the UWEC Stacks. They might get a kill here if Iroh lingers, but backs off smartly so as well. But yeah, just paying attention for a little bit of information, but not playing for them to get the kill through that one-way smoke. Just looking for a couple of noises, a little bit of noise as they come through, and now it starts. And they've caught this perfectly. Iroh's knowledge helping them out there, and that's 8-7 in favor of Derby Gods. In favor of the Sea Stags. 5 players staying alive in that round. Not that it matters, but it works in favor of the mentality of these Derby Gods. Not won a map so far in this series, resting on their laurels from the week before. And yeah, behind in the half, but maybe carry that momentum through into the pistol round and take this one up all the way until the end.
Well, the Derby side has woken up kill-wise on the squad. 3 players over 10, including Jay, who's up on 15 at the moment, including the AC had in that first half. This pistol round is going to be very important indeed. Sea Stags now on the CT side as Derby are looking to make a fake out on this A-bomb site, and they've sold it beautifully. Gary's already rotating over. The bomb is in the apartments, and Orcs is getting killed here on the A site, doing more than he needs to. They finally realize something is afoot from the Sea Stag squad. Gary's here in the market, but he's at great risk of being taken down by this double-man peak. Nothing he can do about that one. Straight into the 3-on-3 retake, and so far, it's perfectly executed by Derby.
Sea Stags maybe a little bit, maybe a bit too quick to rotate, maybe feeling a little bit of nerves at the moment. They want to close this one out. They don't want that last map. Of course, it's Derby Gods' pick. And oh my word, incredible shots from these players. I didn't even see that coming. I was ready to start talking about the next round, but Derby Gods lost that very quickly, and UWE Sea Stags have come out and won it. The overlay showing that Derby Gods are winning this, but it will be fixed in just a second. The Sea Stags are the ones that just won that round. It's 9-7 in their favor at the moment. Now we've just had it swapped for you. And there we go. It just, I mean, incredible stuff on the retake. But as I was saying, maybe a little bit nervy, a little bit too fast to rotate. The Derby Gods will keep that in mind, but Sea Stags are probably going to remember that one for longer. Those rotates aren't going to be anywhere as quick in the future. And that fake, by failing it, has lost any notion of that happening again as Cameron sprays through the smoke on top mid. Nice and early. 2 players down in mid as well. Orcs doing his best to trade it up. Gets the 1 kill in mid window, but not going to get any more for now. Crit looking a little bit aggressively in mid. Not the best angle this. It looks like it's a lot better than it is, but player peeks you on cat and you are going to struggle. He backs off towards jungle and goes in for the change of angle on towards mid. Of course, Orc's a good player, probably ready for this one, actually peeking in towards connector, and the timing might be perfect for Crit, but makes that noise, and Orc's managed to make his way into the connector now. Crit doesn't even realize this as well. Just going to shift out, look towards Palace, but loses his head to Orcs, who's pushed up with the perfect timing through connector. And now it's all on Samuel to hold this A site. The player's rotating in, but it doesn't mean anything because Orcs, Zay, and Iro all over this site. And Samuel just going to have to spam through this wall. Maybe sees a leg there, but doesn't quite get the spray off before it does. Magic waiting for Orcs to push into jungle. And sees the player pushing in, and that's a left-handed peek. Not quite as good in CSGO as maybe you would think. Right-handed peek's always the better option. And now just a slow push coming out of these UWE Sea Stags players. 2 of them with kits as well, so they know that they can take their time. Magic looking towards this site. Thinks that there might be a player towards triple. Iro nice and wide though. And Magic gets the kill, and Zay has been spotted. Gets one, but not good enough to get a second. And Magic defusing. Doesn't have a kit though, and should just get this one defused by the overlay there just at the top. You can see that he is just going to get this defused in time.
Yeah, indeed. That's another very close round though for the Sea Stags, and it could prompt another buy to come through from Derby. If they have good cognizance of their opponent's economy, they know that they've just drained the bank substantially. And while it doesn't normally make sense to continue buying at the start of the half, you can really knock that economy off kilter. They are going to stick down to the Deagles, though. And again, that round just too close for comfort. Gary, they got a call to kill the planter there, saw his feet, but was just too worried, I guess, about being peeked from all manner of an angle while he was exposing himself. All of these Deagles, they want to take their way into the B bomb site. And right now it's Gary, who's only on 6 kills with an MP9, and Magic to support him on that A4. The utility deployed. The Molotovs is going to do a good amount of work. And the first 2 kills go the way of the CTs. Magic making it the 3rd that goes their way as well. The Deagles looking on to short. Day even finds a single kill, but Magic will take him down and put the Sea Stags up onto 11. Full T gun round coming through. This is the important one for Derby to try and stay competitive in this map.
And that's where I wanted to see a timeout really going into that round. You could see the lack of sort of calling going into that. They've brought all Deagles on that team, and yet they've still rushed into B all at the same time. It's not a very good play, and Cameron just throwing that Molotov just in case a smoke comes in. It's actually hampered him in the end, and a player pushing up short. He's maybe not called it to his teammate. Magic going to struggle to get anything done, but the smoke goes down and actually helps him out. And 3 kills going in the favor of the Sea Stags here. Orcs still gets 1 though, only on 7 HP. And that's only 20 seconds into the round, and it's a 4 versus 2 in favor of the Sea Stags already.
Indeed, walking out onto the balcony, Gary spots it out, but can't convert that shot. That should have been a freebie. Thankfully, Cameron's there to clean it up, and Orcs, he doesn't have any body armor against the rifles. That means, I mean, well, Thankfully, I guess he's only on 7 HP, so the no body armor doesn't matter. It's Glass Cannon Orb all the way. Surely they don't keep peeking into him. Thankfully, Crit is quick enough on the draw, does get the shots and gets that 12th round. Very close, though. Very close indeed. Derby not giving them away for free.
And those are the kills that Orcs gets if he's won the last map or if he's on the first map of the series. But 2 maps in a row from the Sea Stags, and it's knocked his confidence completely. Derby are really struggling just with shots that they usually hit. I've seen them before. That last week they were incredible. Even though they've lost their top player, even though Zahan's gone, these Derby Gods players individually still showed a lot of skill. Orcs, a player that's, you know, high into level 10 on Face It. He's not a player that usually loses these. I think he's made playoffs in Open before. He's not a low skill player. He's good at the game, but just not good enough to get those kills. Just mentally shot from these last two maps.
Well, it's going to be a full A execute coming out from the Derby side. They only have a single player to worry about at the moment in the form of Samwell, and they're trying to spam him down. Jay will secure that headshot easily, and I mean, that A-side defense just folded like a wet paper towel from the Sea Stags. Nothing they could do at all. Taking isolated engagements against those AKs and being destroyed by them. It's a confidence booster for the Derby squad, and a bit of a sucker economically from the CT is going to be a tough choice as to what to do. Gary saving a gun, Crit should have enough to buy, and then it's just a case of whether or not Samuel fancies dropping his teammates something. It's probably a good time for a timeout here, but the Derby Gods winning this gun round, they definitely have a chance now to try and equalize the scoreline somewhat.
I mean, we'll likely see a buy coming out for the Sea Stags. It's only one player that's sort of in that middle ground. Cameron going to be on a double buy, double eco anyway. Magic is the only player really that's debating it. Crit maybe a little bit, but can still pull out a decent weapon and some utility for mass, maybe. So I'd like to see a tactical coming out for them here, but yeah, they go and they buy up, and actually it's Derby Gods that have a tactical, and it gives UWE Sea Stags a little bit of time to readjust. I know that obviously the timeout's called by different teams, and you know, you'd think that the Derby Gods are the ones with the advantage from this, but the Sea Stags actually get a little bit of a time to talk about how that A-hold was and talk about how they're going to buy into this round and maybe work out a couple of the kinks in their hold there.
Indeed, the Derby side thinking they're applying the pressure by calling a timeout there, I think, whereas the Sea Stags are going to be thankful for that one, just as you mentioned, for the opportunity for tactical discussion. But you can't afford to misplay this round as poorly as you did the last one. It started off giving away a Deagle kill, Fate very quick, you have to say. Great job on him finding that first one, but from there on out, it felt like the Sea Stags were just trying to take one-on-one engagements to try and recover the man advantage, and they were just peeking straight into AKs. Orcs, he just doubles up, straight out he goes, and finds 2 kills with his rifle, only on 4 HP, but he's going to find a 3rd kill regardless. Huge plays from the Derby Gods at the moment, tearing apart the Sea Stags, and they're showing they don't want to be out of this series just yet.
Magic might get one here, catches Zay rather by surprise, and is actually going to get caught out by surprise himself. Doesn't realise that the bomb's down on the B site, and Iroh mops him up nice and easy. 4 players staying alive for the Derby Gods, and just as you were talking about how UWE Sea Stags couldn't be as sloppy as they were, they've gone and done it. They've shown exactly how sloppy they can be. Almost worse than the round before. No players saving any weapons and only getting 1 kill for their troubles in that round, and Derby Gods looking very strong on this T side, and we've seen it time and time again. The aggression that they can show on their T side is far better than what they do on the CT. They don't know how to really, or so far they've not shown that they know how to have the discipline with random aggression thrown in just to throw the Sea Stags off a little bit. They haven't shown that capability yet, and so on the T side they can just run out and get these frags. The Sea Stags aren't ready for it. And it looks like both of these teams have preference for the T side, which doesn't really suit the sides that they've been picking so far in the vetoes.
Look at this. Cameron has crept all the way behind the entire Derby squad's team. Finds one, but can't quite get the second quick enough. It's fair enough there with the USPS. You're very unlikely to be able to line up multiple kills before players are going to turn around in that kind of a scenario. But still, got your heart beating for a second if you're a Sea Stags fan. Fate, though, he's just put any chances of victory to bed with that 180 in the A bomb site. Shay continues the cleanup, and it's double digits for the Derby squad. If the Sea Stags want to buy here, utility going to be lacking, and this could be the door opening slightly for the Derby comeback.
Yeah, very strange. To be honest, if I was the Sea Stags, I'd eco another round here. No, I mean, they've got money, but it's a bit of a struggle. No utility to use, and it's something that, I mean, the only thing that they've got to stop Derby from pushing into the sites early. These players just playing a default every single round. They're doing very well in terms of their hold grip. Fantastic shot on A ramp, and because of this default, there's no player there to trade him out. They're just alone, and now all the players moving in towards A. The three of them all there. Well, Kill managed to beat as well somehow by magic, and now, or rather Gary. Now all of the Derby gods all bunched up together on ramp. Maybe the one thing they've got going for them is that they don't know that they're here, but Samwell has shot through the wall. Oh, and a second one. Incredible. Might get a third, looking for this kill. And that is unbelievable on ramp there from Samwell. Only 12 and 12 in this game, but you wouldn't believe it with shots like that. And Gary with the flank as well, pushing in behind. Not held. And Orcs loses his life on CT spawn. Derby gods lose that round, and they really shouldn't at all. A technical pause coming out quickly. Well, Derby gods, very poor showing in that round, or more likely, Sea Stags with an incredible showing.
Yeah, Crit, he gets that first kill on the A ramp. And he actually pushes out a little bit deep off the back of that one and doesn't see any more people. And when Gary gets a kill over towards B, they call the rotation. The entire CT squad starts making its way over, other than Samwell. He sits in CT spawn with a scout of all weapons. 1-on-3 against AKs walking into the bomb site, and somehow lands 2 miracle headshots. That round still had the fundamental potential to go wrong. And for the Sea Stags, and I'm dumbfounded by this buy coming through from the Derby gods. Double AWPs on the T side of Mirage. That could be them burning their economic advantage in this round.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the money to go for it, though. Fate on 6k still, even after 2 AWPs coming through, so they might still be able to buy if they do lose, but, I mean, this is not the kind of buy that's planning for a loss here. They're looking for these kills, and Orcs making noise. Cameron waiting for him on the apartments here. The one solace he's got is that he does have a player supporting him holding the ramp, and so as long as Orcs doesn't peek this angle, he should get the kill, but Orcs more than likely will peek this. He's having a very good game and actually smokes the play. I say that, Orcs goes down very early, and Fate, though, has managed to push out all the way onto Sandwich there. Samwell not doing a very good job of holding it all, gets double mollied and has to back off. Can't do quite that incredible scout play that we saw the other round, and now the A site has gone fully in favor of the Derby gods. Crit, though, fighting to take this one back. Holding in towards Connect, unfortunately losing out there, though. And now it's a 1 versus 2. Gary the Gutter, full HP. Zay and Fuli only on half or lower. And Gary senses that this rotate's coming in, slowly pushing in towards the B site. And very smart play by Gary, who's otherwise having a bit of a difficult game so far. Just slowly pushing into this B site. As long as he doesn't have his knife out, that timing has worked out perfectly as well. Here's the bomb going down. Might get this kill. Oh, incredible. 20 seconds left, and Gary just playing smart. Doesn't realize the other players in apartments, though. Playing it as if he's in kitchen, and this could end up working out in Fuli's favor. Fuli, 43 HP, 2 bullets away from death. Gary, oh my god, Fuli! That is incredible stuff to take the 11th round for Derby gods. Round 24 going in their favor, and Fuli saving that there with 10 seconds left in the round.
There is no reason for Gary to be peeking there. He's done all the hard work in the clutch. He's dropped the bomb. He knows he's going to get a sound cue if there is a player in apartments eventually who has to drop down. He's worried about the sneak for sure, but you can just do a quick peek to the doorway. He sticks around for a long time there. He wants to take that engagement when there's absolutely no reason to. And that play happening so late in the game is a real nightmare for the Sea Stags. That's a very tilt-worthy round when you should have won in a manner like that. And it's a round that is going to give the Derby gods a sigh of relief. These AWPs doing absolute work now. Crit's replied for at least a single kill, but I would be very surprised if the Derby gods don't tie up the scoreline here.
Well, as you say, that Crit getting a kill on Orcs, and now it's all tied up. Fate as well, losing out on short, and now 2 players just going to have to go towards B. They've got 2 players on A, UWE Sea Stags, so it's all on Gary once again to hold this B site. He's done work before, knows that there's a player coming towards short, and Fuli wins with the headshot again, taking advantage of Gary so well here, and Iro as well, and a missed shot, really very poor from Crit there pushing out. Shouldn't really have done that. Has the confidence at least to do it, but maybe overconfidence, cockiness for the C-Stags. 13-12, and that gap gets ever smaller. Derby Gods showing their T side is the side that they prefer.
Unfortunately, that B-hold from Gary, it's just a bit too weak unless he's playing an off angle. Tries to dance around the smoke, but all he has to do is buy time there, and he takes the straight-up gunfight. Could have tried hiding in that smoke, could have tried some dancing around, and again, from the C-Stag squad, they tried to rush the occasion there, force it on the retake, and again, they're just trying to rush up mid in this round. The tied scoreline from the Derby squad all but confirmed at this point, and it's really not looking good from the C-Stags right now, for my money. They need to take a time out here to try and recover mentally, because this game is quickly slipping out of their grasp.
They are losing it very fast. Round after round is going in favor of the Derby Gods. I think it was it 10-5 at half? And now they've only won 3 rounds in this whole thing.
It could have been 10-5 at the half if the C-Stags didn't give that Deagle round away. I think it ended 8-7 just because of those late misplays.
Yeah, I mean, it should have ended 10-5, and the C-Stags have been sloppy from the end of the first half into now. It's been really, really poor. And once again, the Derby Gods going for that B execute. This time, it's Cameron towards B. Gary DeGutter on A this time. So maybe might get some work done, but shouldn't get any more than 1 kill as they push in. And the execute comes out, probably calling out to Gary that it's a push now, but really shouldn't get anything done here. Hiding in the same position that he's been in the whole time. Orcs checks it with the bomb, confident enough to push in there. And Gary just saving a Deagle, probably going to go to top mid and look for an AK. But Derby Gods have enough money to push for this gun now. Absolutely,
they do. They're not going to be quite aware of their positioning, I don't think. Obviously, they know that AK has been dropped in top mid, so they might just start making their way up there to make sure that the weapon is still in its position. But of course, Gary doesn't necessarily have to be here. He could have picked up that rifle and run away a long time ago, but he has stuck around looking to peek the angle. Does find an opening headshot at least. That AK would be a really welcome part to the next round for the C-Stags roster, and the Derby squad know it. They are running up mid right now, desperate to steal this AK away. Gary defending it well at the moment. They push round the corner, takes down the AUE, but can't find the last man. Fuli taking Gary down just before that bomb detonates, so the cash factor not too insignificant. And, well, 13-13 now. The Derby Gods, they've come straight back into it. The C-Stags with a loss in this round, I'd call it they lose the map.
I'd be willing to agree with that one, and the utility is not looking good for the C-Stags at all in this round. This time, the Derby Gods going to change it up a little bit, though. Not going for that default. Instead, going for a full A execute. Smokes coming out, the bomb down towards ramp as well. 1 player in apps, and if they do take this chance, C-Stags, if they do push mid, if they do push up B, they will know that there's no players there, and they will be able to rotate over. But at the moment, they're moving away from it. And these smokes coming out now. Bait going to be the first player to take the peek. Looking towards CT, doesn't see anything. The players from C-Stags have just given up already. They're nowhere near the site at the moment, just sitting back. And Samuel has been mollied off from his favourite position. They know that he plays there all the time. And it looks like Derby Gods have got the site already. Only, what, 30, 40 seconds have passed? No damage exchange whatsoever, and the Derby Gods have already got the site.
The only silver lining for the C-Stags is that Derby have used all of their utility. So there are smokes, nays, and flashes to be utilised on the retake for the CTs. Crit's doubled up on the way in, but it is a defence trying to come through. Shay's only able to get 1, which leaves Orcs 1 versus 4, and he can't get it done. Magic takes him down through the smoke, and the C-Stags pick up a must-needed 14th round. They do it with 4 players on the board, and they pick up a double AUE setup at the end of that round as well. So economically speaking, they are set. But that retake A play style is such a big gamble at this late stage in the game. Thankfully, Crit is good enough for those entries on the way back in, but that could have been a dangerous one.
Very dangerous, and you can look at that as a Derby Gods choke, but more than anything, the Derby Gods threw all their utility at the start, hoping that they would get a response from the C-Stags, hoping that they would see a Molotov come out or a flash or something. Really incredible stuff there, seeing that one way. Nice little kill on Cameron, but the problem is that these Sea Stags, or rather the smart thing about these Sea Stags is they didn't throw their utility early. They knew that they were just going to play retake on A, and it was very smart as Crit gets a kill in mid and maybe going to get a second one here as well. That's 2 kills in mid for Crit, and coming alive, these Sea Stags now in the final moments of this game want to get it over now. They don't want to see another map. They don't want another hour of playing on train. They know that it doesn't suit them, and this one suits them down to the ground as they're looking towards mid. They know the players are there. One player jump peeking in apps, but they're just biding their time at the moment, waiting for these players to push up so that they can just get these one taps, these nice little AWP kills. And Derby God's helpless in mid, waiting for aggression to come that's never coming.
Magic rotates over towards B, just to assist the defense there, as Crit, currently on 8 HP, is the man tasked with watching jungle. The smoke goes down to cover connector, so a B hit on the cards, and it's 2 ways, through short and through apartments, both angles currently being held. One of them by Magic's AWP Molotov, deployed to try and keep these T's at bay. And do the Derby squad even go for it at this point? There's not much time left, and Iroh can't do anything to support. That's the bomb drop. There's no argument for him to push out here and throw this AK away totally unnecessarily when his team will have nothing to buy in the next round. I think that's the tilt coming through from the Derby squad. They know there's no money left, and they know they've just given map and series point away.
Well, I mean, it maybe makes sense when it's like, 9-8 or something, or early on in the game, where you can't be buying together the next round, and he's going to be struggling, Iroh, in buying with his teammate the round after, unless he's confident enough to get the kill. I'd say maybe go for that. But if they lose, this round, it's a must win. They can't lose it. If they lose, they're out of the finals. This is it. And it's not going well for them as they're pushing up short as well. Magic with 2 kills, Crit with 1. And this B-take isn't going to work at all. Iroh pushing with the Deagle. He would have had an AK if he'd saved, and whipping those shots on Magic as well. Still gets the kill. And Gary on apps. Iroh with the scout now, but not going to get it done. Crit gets the kill. And that's 3-1 in the maps to UWE Sea Stags. Fantastic stuff. They have won the winter season of this Newell competition.
Indeed, congratulations to the UWE Sea Stags, who are your grand champions of the Newell CSGO Winter Championship, with a 3-0 victory in that final. The 1-map lead for the Derby squad meant nothing, and you saw how tilted that made Derby towards the end of that map. I don't know if you saw in that last round, there were 2 Derby players still alive, and 2 of them had already left the server. They were completely tilted with a loss in that final, and I mean, to be fair, they had a chance of coming straight back into things there on Mirage and taking us to a last map, but they fell short at the last hurdle. So you have to say commiserations from them. And before we go, Zakaria, do we have any closing thoughts from you about today's broadcast or the season overall?
I think it's incredible what the Sea Stags have done. That's 3 seasons on the trot for them now, which is just, I mean, it's really incredible stuff. I'd also like to take a second to thank, of course, Brutalis and myself for doing an amazing job casting today, and also everyone behind the scenes. We've got Jakey Boy Pro, producing this today, and of course Newell John Pye in the background doing the observing for us. If you just type !talent in the chat, you will see everyone that was on today.
Indeed, thank you to everyone in the crew for helping us out on this broadcast, and thank you to you for watching this event. The CSGO Championships, University Championships, will be back next season, of course, and you don't want to miss that. If you want to start your esports journey and keep track of these esports championships, you can head over to discord.gg/the Newell for more information on competitive esports university events. And the very last thing to do is say a huge thank you to our partners over at Amazon University Esports and Twitch Student. Thank you all so much for watching, guys, for watching this season, and we hope to see you all in the next one.